you get to see somebody who's never been around a
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former intern's tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what the moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker. Let's roll.
Woo, man. Welcome to the Monday edition, broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence. This is your host, Ice, and have the intern E here, Radar.
What's up, Ice?
What's going on, my man? Just chilling, hanging out here, broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence. This is 18 March 2019. Man, what a freaking weekend. Wow. How was your weekend there, Radar?
Surprisingly fantastic. Not hungover still, so that's good.
Mine sucked. It just sucked. It was just there's a weekend like, yeah. I didn't even realize it was fucking St. Patty's Day until the show last night. Oh, no, St. Patty's Day. Oh, Delaware. We're in Delaware. Yeah. What's going on, everybody in the chats? What is going on? How is it going? What's up to the Army recruiting? What's up, Holly? What's up? What's up? I see you all in the same Spanky. Oh, wait, Spanky's in a bunch of chats. What's up, Bailey? What's up, Adrian? Oh, man, what's up? I saw Dale in there. Yeah, what's up, Dale? What's up, Marshall? What is going on, guys? How you guys doing? What's up, Ginger? Man, how you guys doing this Monday? God, it's a fucking Monday. Fucking allergy season's kicking up. St. Patty's Day, my weekend was just fucked up. Thousands of flights were canceled across the eastern seaboard and the Midwest. And it affected me going off and doing shit. So yes, that's why my pissed me off. Ruined. I hope all y'all. I hate you and only but you and I don't even know who you are, but I hate your guts. God, what a weekend, man! What a freaking weekend. Just Anyways, so needless to say, I didn't get to go do anything. Didn't get to pinch nobody. Didn't do any of that crap. Didn't do any of that shit. Didn't do nobody. But hey, you know what? The good news is that all the pipes are running green. No pun intended. All of our stuff's back up. Obviously, you can see on Facebook, Mixer, Periscope, YouTube. All the things are coming up. Again, I don't know. We're getting this throttling shit happening to us. And then, thanks. Spanky's in there making comments. I don't need to be petted. I wanted to go hang out. I want to go do shit. Ugh. I was going to go hang out. I was going to go do stuff, things, and the like.
Did you still get to do something enjoyable at least?
No.
Nothing at all?
No. My weekend sucked. It was just, and then of course jumps into the Monday, and it just sucked. Things did not work out the way I wanted it to be. You know what I mean? Just, you get that thing that happens in your life. You just have wanted to fucking work out a certain way, and then when it fucking does, you're just like, God damn, You don't want to say it, You don't want to say it. You don't want to say it could it get any worse. You know what I mean? You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that person to just come off and say, "What else could go wrong?" And the next thing you know, fucking drama happens. What's up, Terry?
That's when 300 things more go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Terry, what are you doing at Fort Bragg? I just saw that vape cloud fucking from the map here. What up, Ice? What's up, dude? What are you doing at Fort Bragg? What is up at Fort Bragg? The hell? When Terry is going to Fort Bragg, something's up. Is that some like Air Force shit? Wait a minute. Air Force isn't at Bragg still, is it? I mean, I thought they were gone. I thought they closed Pope Airfield or Pope Air Force Base down and became Pope Army Airfield. What are you doing at Fort Bragg, dude? Now I was curious now. Inquiring minds want to know. I'd like to know what the hell you're doing at Fort Bragg. But at any rate, yeah, just a bunch of shit. It's just fucking Monday. Just ugh. But like I said, good news is all the pipes are running green. We got our comms back up. Everything's going all right. We got a guest coming on tonight from the company leader, a professional forum where individual leaders at the company, battalion, and brigade can use use their particular knowledge and writing skills to come on over and shoot the shit from one functional veteran center of excellence to another center of excellence. I just like to say that because they like Bragg is technically not Pope Army Airfield. It's all Bragg, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm at the JID. Okay. Yeah, so, yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So fucking, yeah, we got to get Captain Doug Meyer. He's excited to coming on. We got all these freaking captains coming on here. What's up with that? What is up with all these officers wanting to join? Front desk, why do we have captains? Why do we have officers trying to officering on the shows here? Don't they know it's Sergeant's time in the Monday edition? Now all of a sudden they just like decided to come on any show. What's up with that?
Because it's excellence. They're, they want to share in your excellence.
Yeah, I don't have any excellence. I'm the wrong person you're looking for when it comes to that. But no, he's gonna
bask in your excellence.
He wants to come on and shoot the shit with us. That's fine. We'll go ahead and we can become philosophical and discuss literary type traits than amongst the professional farms and military community. More than happy to see what's at. Hey, real quick, I didn't know this. I didn't realize this because the news was on fire about everything else. There's some fucking flooding going on and shit in Nebraska, like the Missouri River and the Platte River.
Oh.
Offutt Air Force Base is getting like they have battle damage on their fucking aircraft. What's up with that shit? Rid, are you tracking that?
Yeah, I've been tracking on that. It's crazy. They've had dams wash out and bridges and all kinds of shit. Like the ice is all melting and they've got a bunch of rain. Then we had all this ice melt from the storm we got last week, and yeah, some of it's getting intense. They're I don't even know the numbers anymore because every time I see it, it just jumps and jumps and jumps. But pretty much all of western or eastern Nebraska is just underwater, and it's kind of moving into Iowa and moving down. It's going to be hitting Missouri here pretty quick too. It's getting pretty bad.
Yeah. So my thing is that why? Well, where did this like all sneak up? Did this? I mean, just seeing in the news lately that I don't know. You usually hear about stuff like that. Like the news, like they will say, "Hey, it's like it's on front." You know what I mean? It is definitely on front when it comes to the news talking about a local story. That's not really a local story. That's kind of national when you have a lot of flooding like that, and then all that melts, and then the Missouri River floods, and then it overtakes an Air Force base that has several key surveillance aircraft assets stationed there as well. Some of them are like fucking stuck there, and they couldn't fly the fuck out. They can only leave like 9 aircraft. They can only take off 9 aircraft because the shit was flooding in. I didn't even know the Missouri River even flowed around there. Well, I mean, it's Missouri, but, around Offutt Air Force Base. That's
well, and it's been in the news here for about a week. It's just kind of now hit the national news. And like I said, I think when it hit Offutt is kind of, now it's starting to take out big stuff. And there was a big dam break. I want to say it was Thursday of last week that it's I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of been in the news, and it's reaching up here. Like I said, I'm in South Dakota, and it's been up here too on the East River side, and towns like Yankton, South Dakota, like the mall is like completely underwater there, and there's just about every lake and reservoir out there is getting washed over the spillways and stuff, and they've got every flood control thing they got going on, and they got the guard out there, and it's a big to do there. Like I said, but every time you watch the news now, it's so hard to keep track of because it's just getting so much worse and worse and worse. And I think it finally took it getting bad enough for everyone else to quit caring what color Trump's tie is today to start worrying about people's lives.
Oh my God, I know, dude. Oh, it's getting so stupid. The news is getting so stupid that we don't even want to talk about the news anymore. All I can say is that Republicans and Democrats and all people in Congress suck. I don't care what you say. They go up there to talk all this game to get you. They get you guys to get vote for them to get them elected, and the next thing you know, they get up there and what do? They don't do anything. There you go. Remarks complete. I could go on, I don't know, so many freaking tangents on just what policies and politics everyone's trying to get out of optics. You know what I mean? We know what he's saying when D. Treasy tweets something out, but people like explode it and unravel it and try to analyze it. Okay, I'll bite this one time. There's people that are actually not even qualified to make this determination or prognosis. They're saying that there's something mentally wrong with him. These are reporters, okay? These are reporters. That if I went back and went through their yearbooks and their pictures and all this stuff, what they did when they were in college, you could see the capacity of them doing it. Yeah, totally fucking squared away. I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, your practice and your literally notes that you've created, I could totally see that. I could totally see where your, I don't know, whatever dissertation you have on presidential, mental problems or mental issues. I could totally see that. I could totally see if you, I don't know, or I would say an expert on it. But if you're just a fucking broadcast journalist and went to school for journalism this and did that, and you were probably a crappy writer, hey, just because you went to school doesn't mean you're fucking, just because you designed the space shuttle doesn't mean you're fucking smart enough to build it. Doesn't give you the right to sit there and start talking about somebody's mental capacity just by him tweeting. Fuck, could you imagine what would happen if that was rated? Oh, wait, I forgot. China does that.
They just get in Feinstein's stuff.
Right.
She leaves her laptop and her driver's a Chinese agent or whatever. But
yeah, really. No, everyone talks about what do you mean China does it? Look, the way China does it, they have in China what they call it's a social credit system. It's intended to make an assessment of your business and economic fucking social reputation. Like your reputation is based on your social credit. And it's amassing due to the fact that of all the information that you write. So it would be like Facebook having all your information and giving it to a government entity for them to track you. I'm not saying that's happening, but it's happening. Okay. We said this before. Why do you think everything you get done on Facebook is free? You honestly think it's free? You honestly think it's free that you get to do all those fucking video phone calls and multiple video drops and all this other shit? You think that's free? No, it's not. You paid for it. Buy your identity. Fuck it. Yeah, they actually do that, man. They implemented a social credit system. So it's just like to see what you have for your reputation and shit. It's crazy, dude. The social credit system also can like travel ban you and shit. Like you can't go anywhere because you don't have the credit. You don't have enough. So it's like you don't have the, I don't know, cool points. I guess you would say. Is that how you equate it? You ain't got no cool points. You travel ban. As a matter of fact, you're not even cool enough to go to the private schools. You can't even bribe anybody like they do in the States. Social status. Go ahead.
That's not much different than my credit score, though, because according to my credit score, I ain't flying nowhere either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, really.
Just saying. I ain't paying no private schools for my kids and none of that. But it's an interesting system. Like you said, does it go on cool points? Does it go on trustworthiness, or does it on how you stand with the government? I don't know. I've read so much about it, but no one says how exactly it works. It's really scary to me, if I'm honest. But I don't know, man. That's like you said, you know, anybody who's decently, better with communications than I am, you know, they can figure out a whole lot about somebody on Facebook. You know, they can track you down and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You know, and you've got these guys who are that's what they're trained to do, to figure out all kinds of shit and like write the coding and all that. And man, it gets scary quick when you think about how much stuff, you know, is tied into even, you know, your phone or even like like bill pay. Like I pay my electric bill, my gas bill, and my cable bill, all that stuff online. So, and it's a lot of it's saved on my phone. Do you want to use your card ending and blah, blah, blah? Sure. And you don't even think about it. You don't even think who can access that information. And whether it be somebody nefarious, like you said, doing this social credit score or whatever. And I don't know. Someone was trying to relate that to the United States, to saying if we go to a universal basic income, that we need a score like that. So you can, it scares the crap out of me to have government that much into your business.
Right, dude. And they go off straight up with data collection on the assessing of the trustworthiness and compliance of each person. I mean, everybody's fucking social media. Everyone has a social media profile to include friends, health records, insurance, private messages. It's all about them snaps. It's all about them snaps. Yeah, not in China. They snap that ass over there. You fly anywhere. It's all about them snaps when your ass is fucking remanded to a menial fucking job because your social media fucking credit score or your social score is down. Private message. Could you imagine private messages and shit? It'd be downfall fucking. It would be the downfall of fucking governments. It'd be downfall of many of governments and the ruling class. Everyone. Well, hang on. It did. Social media did ruin some people, right? These individuals that bribe their kids into going into fucking school, but then we're marching in the women's march to say that inequality sucks, while bribing their way through inequality.
Oh, I was thinking that Anthony Weiner guy too.
Oh yeah, him too.
Yeah. But there's all the, yeah, I mean, and that kind of, to me, that is a higher side of this, that it's not just, us talking about moldy barracks and moldy housing, and all of a sudden I get, all these ads on Facebook for mold removal.
I know,
but
dude.
But it's actually going towards, bringing down people. Like, I don't know, sending naked Snapchats or Instagram photos or whatever to little girls. Hey, that makes you a pedophile. That makes you a sexual predator. Maybe you need taken care of. And I don't know.
In China, that does it. And I'm saying
right?
In China, they do that. I mean, in China, if you fucking do some crazy shit like that, it affects your status on what it is to the government, what they deem unfit. That's like all the crazy fetishes and shit. I don't care about that shit. When people talk about that crap, it pisses me off because right now the LGBTQ community is pissing me off due to the fact that they're saying that it's no big deal for an 11-year-old kid to fucking be in a strip club fucking for tips, doing shit that no way. I don't give a fuck if it's LGBTQ. It's an 11-year-old kid. That's what I see. Oh, right. Yeah, good point, Bailey. Oh, yeah, smart TVs. Yeah, okay, by the way, if you have a smart TV, it's easy to do. All you have to do. You realize that the smart TV, like the Vizio 50 series TV, or others, because I was, I had some people helping me out with my TV and giving me some tips and tricks. So appreciate y'all out there for helping me out. If you have a Vizio TV, you connect it to the net, and then once you connect it through your router, you reset to factory settings, and then immediately change the input, and that's how you reset your Vizio TV, so that way the smart cast system is disabled. Oh, I'm probably going to get we're probably going to get muted for that.
So I have a Vizio TV.
Yes.
And I turned it on the other day. Did you get that thing that said
terms and conditions?
Well, not just the terms and conditions. There's like a class action lawsuit against them.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, send your shit in, and you get like $11 or something."
Exactly. Send. It says it's like fucking. It was like flashed up on the screen. So what it does again? You just remember this. It's go ahead and connect it to your fucking router. Connect it. Let it fucking connect up, and then as soon as it's connected, so it allows you. It makes you sign the terms of service for Google Android systems and shit. So what it's doing is it's a forcing function to make the fucking TV work. Well, the fucking, I guess you would say, life hack. The hack for it would be to go ahead and activate it and go ahead and connect it, so that way the terms of service, you're basically fooling the TV because it's firmware. It's not fucking really hardware. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's hardware firmware. It's not really fucking. It's not operating. It's not going to recognize the fact. It's going to say is the TV's been activated under the terms of service. Reset it to factory settings, and then bam, and then change the input to whatever your HDMI port or your favorite TV or channel or console, satellite or whatever is connected to. So thank you again for those helping me out. That's good shit. Yeah. So when you have like that, you're right. It does. So smart TVs do the same thing, except the smart TV information was given to the NSA and the CIA. Look, if you want to spy on me through my TV, you're going to be disappointed. Very disappointed. You're going to be extremely disappointed. Oh, you might be fucking curious. You never know. But yeah. Or you're going to see, Baby Ice, wiping his diaper all over it. Either or, you can see. You're not going to miss much. But yeah. Yeah, so the $11, I don't know, man. It's about the same thing as the them fucking it's the earplugs. If you get these combat earplugs, you get a Clash Ass and Locks. Oh my god. Everything's filled up with it now.
Well, I'm kind of curious as to what the payoff's going to be on them, because I got them stupid earplugs, and I got tinnitus or whatever, tennis. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Tinnitus.
I got hearing loss. So I sent my stuff in. I don't know if I'm going to get nothing. I haven't heard nothing back. They're like, oh, you filled this form and sent it in. I was like, I'll take some free money. Trying to get me like a Lambo or something, but I'm sure it's probably going to be like $20, and the lawyers are going to keep $1 million of it or whatever. So
yeah, Spanky said that's going to be catching her watching Game of Thrones and eating chow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. What are they going to get on mine? I got a handful of kids, man. It's like Ice Age and shit like that. I mean, even if they're watching, even if they're watching, they're not going to see nothing. But
yeah, they're going to see Xbox. They're going to see kid stuff with me. They're going to see Baby Ice, putting his paw prints all over it. There's going to be some sitting on the couch, and that's about it. Pretty much. Yeah, that's all. You're not going to see no bomb making material going up on my couch. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? There's not going to be any of that. I don't bring my personally owned weapons in front of anything, anyways. That right there, I keep that under lock and key and secured when no one knows where it's at.
Well, and that gets back to me. I lost all my guns in that tragic fishing accident a couple months ago.
Dude, on that flooding and shit that happened. Oh man, it's an atrocity.
Mm-hmm.
Which flood was it? The one that hit across the United States with an F5, typhoon bomb that happened and shit. That's what. Yeah. So. The implementation of technology platforms, though, with that, it's a fully implemented system that, as of mid-2018, is what they were using in China, going back to the social credit system, to start collecting, due to the fact of the advent of personal smart devices, smartphones and all that, and people being these so-called phone zombies, where they always have their fucking face in their phones, lends to it on itself. Phone zombies is actually a pretty good fucking. It's a pretty good fucking parallel to real zombies, because it'll spread just by the meaning of information that you put inside your smartphone when sending this information abroad or across that specific platform. So if you like to throw your snaps up and you like to throw everybody else, it is not just going to be shared through the person you're snapping with. I think it's this October, anyways. We talked about this. OPSEC Monkey did. Snapchat are going to start fucking recording them all. You thought the fucking days of over, man. No, man, game over. Nothing is ever going to not be permanent. That's how they lure you in. But they're going to do that, and it's just like I was saying, it's like you're patient zero. So once you input your information, you start filling it out, and you start putting it in there, it's going to start spreading and connecting and all that stuff. So the next thing you know, you're going to start getting fucking friend requests and PMs from people like, what the fuck does this come from? Just because you said hi. Or just because you did a like on a page, or just because you looked at something, and the next thing you know, you have fucking earplugs all over your shit, or mold equipment or something like that. So, I'm just saying, a travel ban too. Sorry, looking at your social credit system, you can't apply for this job. Why? That says right here you're unreliable. No, but I was just. Is this your dick pic?
They're going to have the little face scanners, but they're going to be in the urinals to make sure you're supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Spanky having bitches over and shit. What's up with that? Break. If you're 100% disabled, don't bother sending shit in. If you're no longer up for the government can open every file and reevaluate. It's what happened if you got their rating drop. They got their rating drop? I didn't know that. That's good information there, Dave. Good information. That's some good shit. Bringing bitches over. Yep. Don't want to fucking get caught doing that. Well, many fucking exes and ex-wives that I got. Fucking. I see you're now denied travel ban. Why? Because you have so many fucking ex-wives. This is wrong. But, okay, good point there, Dave. Dave says that if you're 100% disabled, don't bother sending shit in. If you're no longer up for review, then the government will reevaluate. It's about happened to a few who got their rating drop. Interesting fact. So make sure you go out there and do it. Go ahead to WTFNationRadio.com and contact our VA representative to get your shits in. And I'll make sure you have the proper evaluation done and then get it sent in. And a lot of the stuff information we talked about before, you said this too, Radar, that you got to fill out the paperwork and you'll be good to go. It's the guys that don't do it, But anyways, 8 people have died since you've been there, and you've only been there a week. What the fuck are you talking about, Terry? Where the fuck are you at? 8 people have died since you've been here, and you've only been here a week. Oh, you talking about Fort Bragg? People dying at Fort Bragg? What the fuck happened, Terry? Damn, dude. The hell? Oh, you mean you just showed up and then people just started dying? Is that what you're saying, Terry? You're walking around Fort Bragg going, man, this place is fucked up. People are fucking just falling out. Oh, man. Fort Bragg is ridiculous sometimes. Oh, man. Yep, so that's the status of your social credit system. And going back, we're talking about the news. And going back to what the evaluation of what the POTUS's mental capacity is. To me, the way I see him kind of like the old, that old grumpy guy that will sit there and yell at kids on the fucking, on the porch. Hey, look, there's old man Trump. There he is right there. Dude, is that old man Trump? Get off my lawn! You know what I mean? That type of shit.
Well, and why? It's like 3:00 in the morning. Dude is like up pooping on his phone. Like, maybe just turn it off, dude. Like, I don't know. Like I've defended Trump. I've accosted Trump. I've done both. But at some point, he's got to straighten that shit up a little bit too. He's kind of he's fueling their fire, and I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't know if he doesn't give a shit. I don't know which one of those it is, but he's definitely giving them fuel for their fire. But like you said, you got all these armchair quarterbacks that are like, oh, he's crazy and he's blah blah blah, and I don't know.
Well, I said this on there. Him and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's the liberal version of it. She's coming inside and dropping shit that everyone's like going, what the hell is she saying? Because she's not going in with the congresswoman decorum, right? All the prim and proper, how they're supposed to act or all that. Nah, she's coming in there. AOC's going in there just muddling everything up. Well, I see Trump the same way. He's just in there muddling shit up and has authority to do it.
But then he's on Twitter too, and Twitter is like, you're a parent. You've seen the Emoji Movie, right?
Yes.
Where they go into that little bar and it's all the internet trolls in there.
Right.
That's what I see when I open up my Twitter every time.
When I open up Twitter, I see the thin layer of I see a lot of good stuff that's in Twitter, but then I see the thin layer of the bathroom of a bad bar with a busted urinal, and people are still pissing in it. If Facebook is the fucking trailer park of society, then Twitter is the I guess you'd say that would be a good and sensitivity. Oh my god, yeah, people get more sensitive. It's funny because memes and stuff that get posted on Facebook, you post it on Twitter, dude. They're asking for your head. They demand tribute. They want you completely wiped out of the fucking map. They even have the dude that owns it, Jack is his Twitter handler. He's the guy that owns the fuck or runs the place. They literally complain. They put something out on Twitter, they'll complain about something, and they'll say, @Jack, this guy hurt my feelings. Wah. And everyone's threatening each other to sue. It's fucking funny as shit to walk in there and just throw gasoline on the fire. Some of the shit that I throw on Twitter, I don't even give. I'm not halfway. I'm serious about some of it, but sometimes I just like to get a rise to see what happens. Guys that act so fucking hard, gals that act so whatever. But as soon as you say something to counter it, they lose their shit. Guys and gals, both of them lose their shit. But on TV and on Facebook, you have this fucking image like they're squeaky clean. It's like Twitter brings the evil out of everybody. Twitter is the evil of everybody that everyone likes to hide, but don't hide it. Where men get bashed and women get dick pics. That's pretty much what Twitter is. I was like, wow, this is an interesting dynamic. I don't know why I didn't log into Twitter a long time ago.
Well, and I don't know. I'll catch myself. I'll be on Facebook for like an hour, doing whatever. Twitter is one of those ones I get on for like 15 minutes, and I'm just like, oh, okay, blah 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 blah. I don't even think I've posted on Twitter in like 2 years. Same with Instagram. I don't ever, I've got Instagram, and I open it very rarely, and when I do, I'm just kind of flipping through it because I'm bored doing something. I'm bored. I've reached the end of Facebook, and like you said, you can't share a meme anymore without everybody trying to light your house on fire. So I just avoid that anymore. And I don't know, like all these other social media platforms, everything's kind of got their niche, with the Snapchat for the dick pics and the Tinder for the hooking up and whatever. But I've never really felt that urge to share my whole life in 128 characters or whatever it is on Twitter. I've never got baited into it. And every now and again, I'll get on there and like you see the dumpster fires. It doesn't take more than about 2 minutes of flipping through my Twitter page to see just absolute dumpster fires, and you can kind of swing by and, like you said, kind of give a little jab or tag your buddy in it, be like, hey, look at this idiot, and you move on to the next one. But it's the same with YouTube. Every time I get on YouTube is like, well, when the kids want to watch Baby Shark or some shit, or when I will watch hours and hours and hours of like the Russian car fails or whatever, where I don't know, they're awesome car accidents or tires fly off and hit a guy on a motorcycle going 80 or some shit. They're hilarious to watch. And that's the only reason I want to get a dash cam. But I mean,
oh my God, I know. They're the kings of fucking dash cams. They can do no wrong. Ivan's got the market on dash cams when it comes to shit like that.
But I think Putin's giving them to them for free for their social credit score thing. He's trying to see if you can drive, then maybe you can't drive, Igor, so maybe you can't go to Poland. I don't know, but I don't even know where Russians go on vacation. That's sad. Do they get vacations? I don't know.
The way their social economic system is, they're always on vacation. Are they working or not? No. Oh, what's going on with that memorandum? Yeah, that's true. Yes, the ASUs have now replaced the standard duty uniform as a punishment uniform. That seems to be the way. We're going back to the late 90s Army there, Sarns. ASUs is now punishable. You can wear ASU. That's like you're gonna punish somebody. Man, I can't wait for pinks and greens to come out. Because then they're gonna be like, okay, if this keeps happening, the next formation will be in pinks and greens, and then the morning formation will be in ASUs, and then the next formation will be in PTs, and then the next formation will be in duty uniform. What's up with that? Yeah, more to follow on that. Yes, that's true. That is not a doctored document that you see passing around about somebody getting a little obsessed with the uniform formation. ASUs, I got it, man. If you're doing something for like an inspection or something like that. But having formations just to have formations and then have formations and then dude in ASUs, at that point that's where the factor comes in. I'm gonna ask Doug about that when he comes on. Yeah, put him on the spot.
Well, they're still doing that. Like, we used to have every Thursday, it was Friday mornings. We had a different uniform inspection. It'd be your Class A's or whatever, some service uniform. Are they still doing that? Like I said, I've been out of the Army for a bit, so I don't know if that's still a thing or if that was just my unit or how that was working. But
well, what they do, you're talking about payday activities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's see, here's the thing. Oh my God, are we sergeanting ourselves again? The tradition of payday activities
I approve.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm about to say. The tradition of payday activities, harsh back in the days where we used to only get paid in cash, and there were pay officers, and the individual was a company commander with a pay officer, and it would be escorted by a sergeant first class with a .45 pistol attached to them. You used to have to report for pay. In order for them to do that, in order for you to get that to make sure that you were gigged up, the platoon sergeant would line you up outside the company, and then would form would form you up, and then prepare your unit for inspection. Your first sergeant would prepare your unit for pay. The unit's going to get paid, and then you go, you immediately do a right face file from the left, column left, and then they go inside, and each platoon gets ranked. And as soon as you walked up as a Joe in your uniform that you were already squared away, a payday activity was then what? You saluted, you got your pay, and then you walked out the door. After that was like a zonk. It was like an automatic zonk. Then that would be left for the NCOs of the organization to have an NCO call, and they would do this in the morning after PT run. An NCO call would be, you would go meet all the sergeants and all that would meet at the NCO club, have a couple beers, shoot the shit. It's like fucking hanging out on Twitter. Basically, it was like Twitter in real life. That's a good point, too. All the military tweeters that are out there. That's like the military. That's what it used to be. It used to be you sit there, you drink a beer, and then no shit, you saw your commanding general or your sergeant major sitting in there in the bar. And they would come by, how you guys doing? Y'all hanging out here and hanging out. Y'all, what y'all doing? And sergeant major would look at you, what's wrong with that haircut? How come your hair? He'd ribbon you a little bit after a couple beers, just shooting the shit. Heard you didn't do good in the range and all that. Come here, first sergeant. And the next thing you know, the first sergeant then would walk away, and you'd hear about fucking plans and shit. And then you hear about someone getting moved to another platoon or another battalion or another brigade or something like that. And that was the NCO call. That was back in the day. Every fucking payday always fucking happened. End of the month pay. Well, then we became like Stupid Town with the advent of fucking direct deposit. Direct deposit just at that point ended up being for payday activities would be you would have to go get your soldiers set up, and that's why all these times were happening, because soldiers would be released to go make their payments because there was rent that had to be due. I take that back. It was before EFT. So before EFT, after the Zonk, that's what it was for. Payday activities, you were released. So that way you can go pay your bills, pay your landlord, pay your car payment. This is before everything was electronic and all that. That's because you got the cash in hand. And then EFT came along, and that was removed because everything was EFT. Well, and now it became Stupid Town. That's funny how some of these traditions go away, but they want to bring back a uniform that harks back to those same traditions, but don't want to go back to those traditions. Because our soldiers deserve it. They deserve to look good. Roger that, Sergeant Major of the Armadillo. They're right. You're good. You're good. These soldiers need to look fine. But so you're right. There was paid activities for that. But for punishment, man, I always thought that the uniform was supposed to be a symbol of honor, right? Not a punishment. Because then that's what the soldiers are going to look at it. It's all about sending a message. And that message that you're sending is that it's bad to wear ASUs. Because you're connecting that to a punishment. That's, I don't know, some old Sergeant NCO advice there. Some observations, and I'm pretty sure you could say the same to Radar and the same thing, Spanky. You're just making it look bad.
I concur.
No, like the only time it was like a punishment, like for me to make a soldier keep wearing their ASUs or, even Class A's, was if they fucked it up and didn't have it right the first time. No, come
Bingo.
back in 4 hours.
Bingo.
Come back and have it right.
Right.
It wasn't like make them switch up uniforms. Like, no, come back in 4 hours. Have it fucking right the next time. That was really a punishment. That was corrective training, because you go correct your shit and come back again.
Except for it was you and your NCO went and fixed your uniform and you came back in a couple hours. But I remember though too, it used to be if you were on 45, you didn't leave uniform. And when you went to do your extra duty, you were in, unless it was like pulling weeds or some shit. If you were pulling duty at the talk or whatever, if you were doing headquarters duty, you were in Class A's. You were in some uniform. It wasn't, you weren't in, BDUs back then, but whatever.
What is that supposed to mean? Go ahead.
I'm just saying. And then back then, if you were on 45 and you were in BDUs, they had best be, stand up on their own, starched and sleeves rolled properly and boots shiny. Not even, they better be spit shine. They better be good to hook, And now it's, I don't know. Things have changed. Now you don't have to shine your boots or iron your uniform or whatever. We're not going to get into that. That's
you know what?
Different.
That's a good. Terry put a good question in there too. Would the old military be if the old military came back? Would life be better? Depends. There were some methods that I don't agree with when it comes to busting a soldier. That toxic leadership, if you thought it was bad now with the advent of social media, it was worse back in the day. And motherfuckers were covered up because there was a specific code. I don't say like code red type shit, but yeah, pretty much like that. Really hard, man. It's really hard to kind of put a finger on the old military the way it was. For some reason, every time the military tries to advance in its, I guess, its methodology and doctrine when it comes to some of its processes, then it ends up applying the old military to those new process. Case in point, a leave form is only supposed to have one document. That is the leave form. The leave form is supposed to be supported by an LES. The LES is supposed to show you what credit forward you have on your LES to ensure that leaders have, and it's not supposed to be attached. It is a leader responsibility. So I, as a squad leader, would show my first sergeant if I had signed off an initial. That means that I, as the squad leader, before I gave that leave form to that platoon sergeant, and before that platoon sergeant gave it to the first sergeant, that there was an initial bio. There was something indicated that meant that squad leader knew his soldier that he was not going to go in the hole on leave when it was time for him to go. Well, now there are some individuals that had a warped view what the old army, the old military used to look like. And it used to be pretty bad. Now it's to the point where a commanding general of the 82nd last year said, stop with the fucking, you had to have your trips, you had to have your fucking MedPros, you had to have your leave form, you had to have a leave cover sheet, you had to have your SSDs done, you had to have your cyber awareness training, it was like it turned a simple process of one document into a staffing action that required the S1, and this is why the S1 lost shit. And kicking back all these fucking leave forms. If it was done at the unit level. See, I'm glad Doug Meyer's coming on right now. I'm glad he's coming on. I'm gonna talk about that.
Sorry, I had to joke real quick because I had to tell my mother one time, no, I have to redo my leave form because I didn't get a fucking pap smear on time, and she thought I was fucking kidding. Because that's part of your med pros. My mother thought I was really kidding. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, and see, that's what's pissing me off. That's what makes me mad is the fact that they have gotten things that are just out of fucking control. Yeah, and it's a delicate balance, Terry. It is a delicate balance as a sergeant, as an NCO, as a non-commissioned officer, Air Force or Army, because you guys broke off from us, and sometimes you try to be hard, but it's not your fault. You're in the Air Force. It's just the Air Force. However, the lineage of a non-commissioned officer in the Air Force harks back from the old Army Air Corps. So there is some lineage to that. Yes, as a non-commissioned officer in the Air Force or in the Army or the Marine Corps, it is up to you to it's a delicate balance. It is a delicate balance of trusting your troops. If I were to open up my leader's book right now, when I got historical documents, the admins on the main page call me a fucking hoarder. I am not a hoarder. I'm just nostalgic. There you go. How about that? I showed you guys my LES when I was private ICE. You guys were laughing at the amount of money that I was making as a private. Oh, 550. But I have one of my leader books that the Army used to require that you have a green book, a leader book. And that leader book had everybody in your squad, kids' names, family names, and all this other shit. Had kind of POVs they had. When their registration went out. When was the last time you looked at their registration? Their fucking insurance carriers. All this PII. All this stuff. And the Army trusted you back in the day to do it because there was no shady NCOs, and if they were, they got fragged for doing it. Not fragged, got busted. So if they say, Sergeant Ice, I need to have the information on Specialist so-and-so, Specialist so-and-so, Corporal so-and-so, Corporal so-and-so, and Private so-and-so, I'd go, Roger that, Sergeant. That individual's this, and this. Hey, oh, by the way, isn't his parents, one of his parents sick or something like that? Roger that. One of his parents is dying of cancer. And Private so-and-so's kid is going to be due before we go to the field. So can we make sure we get him pulled back or have him delayed like that? This is before the Army had all this paternity stuff, maternity leave and stuff like that. So you were there for the birth, and then you had 24 hours to be with the family or 48 hours. And sometimes, leadership would be back and forth and all that. But it was not a big deal. But you as a sergeant, as a leader, were supposed to have that information. So that's some of the things that I'm talking about, Terry, would be good to coming back. But we just have, it just seems like when I see soldiers dicking around in the motor pool, when I see soldiers just fucking around sending videos in the main page, I'm thinking, you're the ones, the reason why soldiers, NCOs are saying, well, you can't, you're treated just like adults. Hey, troop. You can't treat them like adults. Because if you do, they get mad because they get pissed off. Big boy rules, big girl rules, right? Funny, this topic of this conversation just happens to be an all-day thing today.
Right. Well, I remember being a private back in those days in a PFC and all that. And I remember us our term of getting busted down wasn't necessarily losing a stripe. It might have been getting punched in your jaw too, you know. But it straightened you out. You know, if you were fucking around in the wrong place, the wrong time, you were liable to get injured.
Well, yeah. Well, if you were, what we used to say back in the day, they were corrected. What happened?
Exactly.
Private so and so was moving his hands a lot, and I had to correct. His hands had to be corrected because there were just some Joes. And I'm just saying, oh come on, man, you guys know that you got some punk ass fucking troops out there. You sergeants, I know you got. I'm not advocating the beating up soldiers, but I'm just saying, back in the day, okay, back in the day. I'm not saying now. NCOs got physical with their soldiers if they acted up. Not like fucking straight up abuse type shit, but a soldier would get in a fight or something like that, and he's going, "Leave me alone," and he fucking starts swinging at the NCO. NCO would fucking, and another NCO would correct it. See how I said that? Correct it. And that'd be good. No issues, no drama, because I would rather do that to a soldier than have to sit there and sit in his court martial for striking an NCO or being disorderly conduct. See, again. The power, going back again, Terry, the power of the NCO. If you only knew the power of the non-commissioned officer back in the day. A sergeant's word was his bond. A sergeant could say something to a soldier and say, blah, 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 and a sergeant meant it, and the soldier could look at the sergeant and say, yep, that's my sergeant. That's what he said. My NCO said this, my NCO said that, because that's what's happening, and that's all. Oh. The platoon sergeant can say the same thing about a squad leader. If my squad leader says this, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with the first sergeant. Same thing with the platoon sergeant. It all rolls like that. But you as a leader have to make sure that you follow up with that. If you sit there and say, yeah, I got it, while your face is in your fucking phone because you're Snapchatting and sending dick pics or something like that, then that's it. Wall-to-wall counseling? Yeah, that's right, Gordon. We didn't call it wall-to-wall counseling. We called it corrective training. We actually called it correcting. Because, and you know what? Some soldiers that knew that they fucked up, that knew that they messed up, and mind you now, I'm just talking, I'm not advocating in this day and age to ever laying your hands on a troop. Because leadership has evolved. Because our soldiers have evolved. But there are soldiers that have messed up, that have been corrected around my presence. How about that? That have admitted. Yeah, I messed up, Sergeant. I shouldn't have took a swing at you, Sergeant. Or I shouldn't have took a swing at Sergeant so and so. Or I took whatever. Yeah. You good? You good? Lesson learned, right? Yep. And then we both kind of like give some bro hugs and you're good to go. That's it. No fucking. That's the way it was handled at the lowest level.
Well, and a lot of times, all it took was one knobby-headed private to do that, and the rest of them would kind of straighten out and be like, "Whoa!"
And that's all it took.
They're not,
that's all it took. You're right. Holy
Big
shit.
Sarge ain't in the mood today.
Yeah, no. Hey, did you see what happened? I didn't realize that fucking. There was an NCO. I remember when I was coming up the ranks. I didn't think this guy looked like he could kick anybody's ass. He was just a wiry little sergeant. And then one day, old Joe tried to fucking push him in the barracks. He was doing CQ check. He was just walking around. And all he heard was a scuffling like that, and he just goes pointing on the ground. You better blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the fuck is this voice coming from? This fuck, I never heard this. That's an unfamiliar voice. Where's this coming from? Then it's this little wirely fucking NCO. And he stopped yelling at this fucking Joe on the ground, face on the ground. You know, the soldier was drunk or something like that on the weekend. He looked right up at all of us. He's like, can I help you guys? It's just like so. No, Sergeant. I guess you best get to stepping. Roger, Sergeant. He wasn't a big dude. But he handled that Joe, and of course it never got to the first sergeant. You get your ass in your fucking room and all that stuff, and that was it. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the guys who abused and fucking taped kids up and fucking dragged them behind their trucks and did some crazy ass fucking shit or taped them up to light poles and all that, because that's what LTs were for. But yeah. So Terry, it is a question about, is the old military going to benefit or like all that? The old military, I'd say, as far as this discipline, on some things. Some of its policies in the military, no. They're just some things that I'm glad that they got rid of. It's the way it is. I mean, you can't really fucking. Oh, Jesse's in there. What's up, Jesse? What you doing? Throwing some question marks. Ain't got no time for Blue Falcons. That's right, Gordon. And if you all get caught, yeah, exactly. There are some. You're right, Speggy. There are some that could benefit over getting spanked over the knee. So we're gonna take a quick break, so that way our guest can come on. He can get a little time to do whatever, because he's kind of busy right now. He's very academic. So we're just delaying a little bit of his SP time. So then we'll go ahead and let him join us in a second. So y'all enjoy yourselves. Refill your glasses. Go and repack your bongs. And stack your smokes. Recharge your vape machines. We'll be right back. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
decision. The media portray me like a kid for a living, like I'm cold with no heart, a brain with no thoughts, a body with no feeling, a life with no cause.
Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat, they spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed I'm there. I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back with part 2 of the Monday edition with our guest, Captain Doug Meyer. What's going on?
How you doing?
Well, first off, we want to welcome you. You officers, we were just talking about this earlier. You guys are starting to make a presence on our little network here. So, did General Donahoe put you up to this?
He did not, but I do connect with him on Twitter and through some other mediums. He's outstanding.
He is a good guy. Okay, real quick. So, right now, currently, from what our latest intel sources have disclosed, that you're currently in school right now.
I am, and so before I go any further, I probably should start out just saying that anything I say here are my views and don't reflect that of the DoD, the U.S. Army, to cover all my bases. But yeah,
no worries.
I'm currently at Georgetown University.
Oh wow, okay. And what are you studying at Georgetown?
It's a Master's of Policy Management.
Policy management, and that is a focus in government.
Politics, policy, how how the Title 10 of U.S. Code, et cetera, how all of that translates from the executive, Congress, et cetera, down to the Department of Defense, and then down to the United States Army. So hopefully, coming out of here, when I get back to the line and to soldiers, I can translate some of the why things are happening better down to the tactical level.
Now, is it? And I'm glad you brought, because you actually just were able to segue right into the first question. Is there a lack of understanding when it comes to policy amongst our troops right now?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair or right to ever broad brush our troops. We like to do that a lot. We like to say, oh, the troops are this or the troops are that, or I love the war acts out there on Twitter. I speak for all the troops. That's great. So I don't know. Is there a lack of understanding of policy with certain individual soldiers, officers, NCOs, et cetera? Sure, absolutely. I do generally believe that at times the U.S. military reflects the best that our society has to offer, but I also believe that at times they reflect U.S. society, period.
True.
And so as much so as there is a lack of understanding for how the policy process works across America, I would say it's probably the same within the U.S. military.
Now, now exactly what is Title 10? Because I'm gonna to give it to the WTF Nation. This is the Monday edition. So what is Title 10 U.S. Code?
So Title 10, and I would recommend that anyone not take my word for it, and obviously look it up. But if I were to summarize it quickly, it outlines the role of the armed forces in the United States Code, and it provides the legal basis for the roles, missions, and organization of each of the services, as well as the United States Department of Defense. So what gives us the authority as the United States Army, as the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, et cetera, and the Department of Defense to operate. Why are we legally allowed to do things that we do, and why aren't we, legally allowed to do other things?
Awesome. That's exactly what I want. Well, I mean, not what I wanted you to say, but yeah, that's a good paraphrase.
Well, good. I'm glad you do well now.
So real quick, tell us about the company leader. You're the curator and the creator of the company leader. What is the company leader?
Yeah, so the company leader, it originally started back in 2013 as nothing more than a somewhat disgruntled assistant operations officer. I know that angry staff officer out there can relate. I was assistant operations officer, and there were parts of my day that I loved and parts that I didn't. And I had just finished a master's in organizational leadership, and I had some passion about leadership, and I decided to start sending out a weekly email to the leaders in the battalion, at the permission of my battalion commander, with some articles, and it really grew organically from there. It became Hay in the Barn leader, which there's a story behind the name, but quickly I ended up realizing after doing a panel with Major Joe Byerly from the Green Notebook, realizing that no one knew what we were about. So the bad name, the name didn't help promoting at all. And then just from relationships built with Lieutenant Colonel Drew Stedman of the military leader and Major Josh Powers of the field grade leader, building relationships with them, I kind of joined and became part of the enterprise. And so wanted to create a place where, and you'll notice it's called the company leader and not the company grade leader. Right. Because I wanted to create a place that fostered discussions about tactics, and that goes from the lowest, on the totem pole private to division commanders, because division commanders lead tactical units. So anywhere within there, NCOs, soldiers, officers, a place to talk about warfighting.
Did it get, when you first started it out, did it get to kind of like some questions about it? Did it kind of like be, hey, what are you trying to do here, man? Were you trying to buck the system, or what was its initial reception?
I can't speak to what its overall reception was at the time, but what I can say is I never got any pushback. In fact, I got the opposite. I got phenomenal support, and that I would have to give to all the leaders that kind of started this this space for professional development via little groups of paratroopers out there online
all the way.
The Drew Stedmans, the Josh Powers, the Joe Byerlys, the Nate Finneys, all these guys and gals out there who kind of were creating these sites and doing it before it was cool, I guess. Made it so that no one really blinked an eye at the company leader coming about.
Right. Now you do talk about, I mean, because you span the entire gamut, and that's one thing you do say in your page. Do you think now? Do you think there needs to be more impressed upon leadership, more on that tactical level? I mean, I'm just asking for your own. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone can say yes or no or throw there, but what's your take on that?
Yeah. So look, if you spend 20 years in the United States Army, whether you were an NCO or an officer, and let's say you go 20 years and you get out, the majority of your billets are spent at the tactical level. Look, I'm part of a program right now where I'm trying to learn, more about strategy and policy. So by no means am I saying that strategy and policy and the organizational level aren't important. What I am saying is that if we can't win battles, if we can't win tactically, then the rest really won't matter. And the opposite applies. If we don't have an end state, if we don't have a clear policy, a clear strategy, then winning battles won't matter. But soldiers will spend their possibly entire time, if it's a 4-year commitment and they get out, or 10-year commitment and they get out, under the leadership, the direct leadership of leaders who are tactically focused, and they deserve the best. So yes, I think that leadership is important. I love leadership. If you look at my page, I talk a lot about leadership, and I've gotten a degree in leadership. It's obviously important to me. But if you don't know how to fight, if you don't know how to tactically operate in different environments and different platforms, then your leadership, probably doesn't matter nearly as much.
You have an article in there that just as a matter, you just said it. You can lead, but can you fight?
Yeah,
I love that. I love that article. That article that was that to me was one of the first thing that grabbed me was the leader development space, especially within the military community, experienced massive growth in this last decade. We are dining at the leader and the self development buffet. I mean, with the myriad of challenges that our leaders face right now, is it a catch up system with how our doctrine is, Army doctrine?
Maybe. I think what it is that, and where that article came from is, I gravitate personally. Part of this page and part of my writing in general is me writing to myself.
Right.
So if you're ever reading something, you're like, man, this guy's kind of getting preachy here. It's because I'm preaching to myself. It's because I'm not nearly. And that's why. And so where that came from is I had a battalion commander who is a phenomenal leader. And I waited, so it wasn't like I was kissing his behind. I waited till he was no longer my raider to tell him what I truly thought about him, and because it was all positive. The guy was just phenomenal, and he challenged me at times because leadership was more my passion, and leadership was more the general leadership space. And there were multiple times where he would challenge me to make sure that I wasn't losing focus on our ability to fight. And that was when I was a rifle company commander. With that focus, a lot of these things that I write about, along with talking about fighting, that was another article on the same type topic. And then, shifting the company leader to doing monthly tactical decision games, which, is probably one of the most scheduled things on the page. The other stuff is just kind of what comes to me or what's submitted to me by other people. It's all about, let's give a place where soldiers, NCOs, leaders can come to talk about fighting.
What about the ACFT? What's your thoughts on the ACFT?
Oh man, I don't know if you I don't know if that's just low hanging fruit or if you have looked at the Twitter page at all, because I've been involved in some interesting conversations about it. Look, I think there's some great conversations going on. Specifically, one of the best conversations and dialogues happening out there is what it means to the reserve force and how they will be affected by it. But having said that, from an active duty perspective, there's, it's cool to hate on the Army, right? It's cool to complain about the Army. Like that's the cool kid thing to do, right? If a soldier's not complaining,
they're not happy.
Yeah, let's be honest. Put a bunch of captains in a room, right, and close the door and have a private be a fly on the wall. That private would fly out of that room going, "Dude, captains are all privates," and then you close the door on them.
Exactly.
So look, there's plenty to complain about, I'm sure, but there are tons of things that the Army, I'm sure people would say have done wrong. So far, what I'm seeing with the ACFT, I'm impressed with, and what I mean by that is getting the right people to have these conversations, spending time to develop it, because it's a long time coming. If you've picked up a Stripes or an Army Times newspaper in the last 10 years, you've seen discussion of a new APFT that was coming, right? So it's a long time coming. And now they're in the test phase, right? So this isn't the end game. They're in the test phase. And right now I know of units who are going through the test phase who are being given nutritionists, physical therapists, strength and conditioning coaches. They're being given the supplies to, the actual fitness equipment. The Army's putting its money where its mouth is, and the Army's taking its time to make sure it gets it right. And so from that perspective, I'm not going to throw any eggs at the Army yet. We'll see what the end result is.
Yeah, well, the reserves went up. Was recently reported on the Army Times up to like 40 million or something like that of equipment.
Yeah,
they're planning on spending up to that much money. I mean, that's just a roundabout figure. I may be incorrect, but it was just millions of dollars of funding to go to the equipment. Now, some of the other leaders in the reserve community are talking about how they're able to do the train up for it. So I mean, like you said, this is a phase in. Do you think it'll be an issue with the reserve community at first, and then it'll slowly just go right in it, or are we expecting too much from our reserve communities other than 1 week in a month?
Yeah, I don't. If we're just using the broad word of issue, I think to be an issue for everybody. Change is an issue, and that's why leaders are placed at positions of, for transition, positions of friction during change. So yeah, I think it's gonna be an issue for everyone. The question is the end result of that issue worth the friction? And I'm probably not smart enough. I'm definitely not informed, enough. I'm not the guy sitting in the room, so I'll reserve judgments on that. What I do say to people on Twitter who go off about the ACFT. My first question is, are you part of the testing group? Have you done it? And every person I've talked to who's been part of the testing group and has done it in an Army sanctioned way, not like, oh, I went in my back garage and I did it.
Right.
Done it in a sanctioned way, has had pretty positive things to say about it, to include throughput, equipment, what the test felt like. If you look at the test's grading standards, there's a lot of people who aren't going to be maxing their APFT or now the ACFT anymore, and that's probably a better judge, because we probably have too many people who are maxing. Like, maxing should be like elite level of Army athlete kind of deal. So the people who generally have the most criticism tend to be the people that aren't in the arena right now. They'll be the people that are going to be in the arena in 2 years, 3 years. So we'll see how it all plays out. I just hope that the Army remains flexible in what the information and the feedback they get from the testing, and they make the changes necessary. And it's an iterative process. It wouldn't surprise me if there are small changes over the next decade to it.
Right. We had Master Sergeant Shelley Horner on from CIMT, Center for God, my brain's frying right now. God, initial military training. Come on and discuss it, and we went through every event. I took the ACFT. That thing's a smoker as a workout.
Yeah.
If you just work out if you just do the ACFT for a workout for PT, you'll have no problems doing the ACFT.
They used to say that the easiest day of PT was the PT test, right? Easiest day of PT is when you take the APFT. 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, 2 mile run. That's the easiest day you're gonna have a PT. Well, that's not the case anymore.
No, exactly. Well, now that's the thing. 6 events. The thing that did kind of smoke me at the end was the run. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, you got a bunch of sergeant majors like laughing at each other, going, "Ha ha ha! You can't do this event." And then next thing you know, there's another sergeant major that can't do this event. Another sergeant major not being able to do that event. But in jest, just joking around, I liked it. Now, I thought it was, if you were like you said, if you were active physically, then it's no issue for you to knock it out. It should be no issue.
Absolutely. And if you look at the grading standards, and I'm sure, look, these are all going to change. I'm sure there's going to be slight modifications to it, but it's not a hard test to pass. I mean, if you can't pass it, if you can't pass the basic levels, then again, we got to talk about fighting. Are you ready to fight? Because the base standards to pass are not that difficult.
No.
The standards to max are extremely difficult. So at least I think they look extremely difficult when you do it over the whole course. Like, you look at that 2 mile run time. Well, the 2 mile max time is you have to run faster than the current 2 mile max. For the 17 to 21 age group on the APFT, and you have to do that after doing 5 other events. To include deadlift. So that's difficult.
I won't say it was easy, but it was a good. I liked it. I had no complaint. But you're right about the fighting thing. Do you think our edge after so long in conflict kind of eroded a little bit when you talk about fighting and tactics?
That's certainly the popular statement, I think, to be said. I don't know if I agree with it. Look, I came in the Army in 2009. I went to a military college, not West Point, for 4 years before that.
I like that when you threw that. Not West Point.
That in there. I had to slide that one in there for all my West Point friends out there. But so it's not like if I sit here and tell you what the Army was before COIN, what do I know? I came in 2009. So I don't know if we aren't as good at fighting as we were before. The bottom line is, what does it matter? All that matters is, are we doing everything we can today? Because the worst day to prepare for war is the day that you end up there. The best day was probably yesterday in the last 360 days, but we can't get those back. So every day, wake up and say, am I doing something today that can prepare me? And sometimes you don't get a choice in that. Sometimes you have to go to gate guard, or sometimes you have to go do a tasking. Well, there are certainly things while you're on gate guard. Let's say you got an NCO and a specialist out there on the gate. what kind of conversations are you having? Are you out on the gate constantly talking about, what's going on Twitter, or, the latest Kardashian, or, whatever? I'm probably, showing I'm already becoming the old guy here. My lieutenants and NCOs certainly pointed out to me as a company commander that I was already the old guy.
Yeah,
but,
right.
What conversations are you having? Sure. We can't be locked on and talking about the Army 24/7, because if you don't remember what you're fighting for, what's the point in doing it anyway? So I understand we got to have conversations. I'll probably talk your ear off about football and how much I love the Ravens or whatever else. And we'll have a great conversation. But then let's find a time to dial it back in to what our focus is. So no matter where you are, no matter what tasking you're doing, if you're sitting in the back alley of your company area looking on your phone, I guarantee you can get up, walk to the armorer if you're doing nothing else, and say, hey, me and these 3 other soldiers, we're going to take out our weapon and we're going to work on, we're going to work on mag changes. We're going to work on ready up drills. There's something you can do. And if you think you're too cool to do that, well, then I tell you to look at Derek Jeter, or look at any great athlete, right? Derek Jeter hit off a tee to the day he was done. Look at any great athlete, and they work on the fundamentals. So I think there's always time to focus on winning at war.
Yeah, funny. We literally just talked about that right before you came on. Tired of seeing. We were talking about the old school, what we used to do back in the day as old NCOs, or when I was a private and they were old NCOs. And there was no doubt that my basic training drill sergeant and the first sergeant were all a couple Vietnam vets here and there. And there was old school NCO mentality where it just blows my mind when we see phone zombies, and they are in the motor pool. I mean, you see us, you see the content that's put on U.S. Army WTF Moments, of guys goofing off in the motor pool. It's funny, but then again, they're the ones that are complaining why their vehicles are not up to standard, because they're not in the motor pool making them up to standard, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And you know what? That's where leaders come in at every level, officers, NCOs. And what I mean by that is specifically, obviously the leader comes in and changes and says, oh, we're going to do this. But what I mean more so is holding up a mirror. And what I mean by that is, there's a way to do it. So you said, that they're out there, soldiers, will be out there messing around on their phone, and then later they'll complain they don't have enough training. Well, so if you're a company commander or a platoon leader or, a staff sergeant, squad leader, and you're walking through the company area and you hear, Joseph 1 and Joseph 2 complaining about, oh, I don't get enough training, while they're sitting there staring at their phones. Well, that's a great time to say something. And there's 2 ways to do it. You can be a jerk about it, and you can be confrontational, and you can do it in a way that's going to make them completely miss the message. Or you can just make fun of them, because we all like, getting made fun of in a good way. And you just say, oh, really? You don't have time to train? That's funny, because you're spending a lot of time on your phone right now, and then kind of chuckle about it. And they'll, especially if if there's a power dynamic where you have a difference in rank, a lot of times they'll kind of awkwardly laugh like, oh, I just got caught. And that's the realization that, hey, I'm not getting hemmed up. I'm not getting counsized that, what I just said was pretty stupid.
Right.
And maybe I can get up right now and do some training.
Yeah, well, a little bit of peer pressure, too, helps it, too, when you got a bunch of guys laughing at that. Because, senior leaders do it, too. We're like, bah, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the whole concept then, as building the company leader, is more of like a community thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of ways that people can get involved, and that's why if you look at the company leader, I mean, if you look on the page, if there's no author to it, I'm the one writing it. And the reason I don't put my, it's easy to find out who I am. My name's on this thing, right? If you go up to the LinkedIn, you click on the LinkedIn, you know who I am. It's by no means a form of anonymity for me. It's just more that I didn't want this to become something about self-promotion, where I was constantly putting my name on everything. So if it's written and it doesn't have a author by on it, it's by me. But more so, I'm trying to get other people involved. And so tactical decision games, I've written the tactical decision games up to this point, except for a couple that I've been inspired by others. But I mean, we got a field artillery one that's going to come out soon. You can bet I'm not writing that one.
Now, that's funny because you mentioned that, because in the world of fires, is cannoneering making a comeback? I noticed that artillery systems are now starting to get in the forefront of our of some of the advanced research and development on weaponry. Is fires coming back?
Well, I don't think fire's ever left. I mean,
oh snap! Okay.
any grunt, any grunt that's been whether it's deployed or whether it was at the never-ending war for Atropia, the value of having fires. So maybe I'm certainly not a fires guy, and maybe there's some that would argue that it's gone to the back burner. But if you at the company level, at the platoon level, if you're thinking about missions without thinking about logistics, without thinking about fires, and without thinking about really bringing all the warfighting functions together, but especially for vehicular units, whether it's strikers or an ABCT, thinking about how your platform is more than just a ride to the objective. If you're not trying to bring all those things together, then you're probably not bringing everything to bear that you can on the enemy, and one day that's going to matter.
Right. Now on that note, with the artillery, what can you give us kind of like a sneak peek of what's coming out?
So it's still being worked on a little bit. The sneak peek is it's still very much at the maneuver level, still very much at the company platoon level, if I'm remembering correctly, because I just did some work on the editing on it the other day. I believe it's company level, and you are operating as an FSO and receiving FSO or FSNCO, really either or. It doesn't specify, and receiving fires guidance from your company commander, from your infantry company commander that you're supporting, and then you have to come up with a fires plan.
What about non-lethal fires?
Yeah, not involved in the first one specifically. At least it's not specifically stated. If anyone were to involve that, bonus points for you. But this won't be the last one, and that's I'm going to keep pushing my fires friends because they're educating the process. Because they're educating me in the process as well.
If you're not familiar with the targeting process, you're in for a show, because I thought, oh, okay, that was a bunch of guys just doing whatever. Once you get involved in the targeting process, it is an eye opener as a planner. I've worked in division staff, or being an ops sergeant major myself, and I'm amazed at the talent of those targeteers when they start getting into the weeds with that stuff.
Yeah, it's an exact science, and their science matters. It matters a lot, and so I've always been impressed. Although I probably would never tell them to their face. Hopefully they're listening to this, because I'm all about the interbranch rivalries. Of course, but I've always been impressed by my fires buddies out there.
It's okay. You're only uploading this to a following page of 1.2 million.
Yeah.
They're gonna hear it.
Yep.
Did you hear what Doug Meyer said? Love you, man.
I'm gonna deny it anyway.
So now you're a striker guy, right?
So I did my lieutenant time in the 101st, and then went and did my captain time in the striker community. Yes.
Okay, so you were saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, rah. Yeah, 82nd / versus 101st versus striker versus tanks versus whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you think now with the modularization of brigade combat teams, we've kind of lost the heaviness that we should have kept? Do you think we've gone too light?
I don't know if we've gone too light, and I certainly don't know if I'm qualified to make that determination. I know that all my ABCT friends and even my tanker buddies who did time in the SBCTs would probably agree that we've gone too light. What I do think is that if you look at even the IBCTs and what they're fielding as far as vehicles, at the end of the day, you need to have vehicles. I mean, when I deployed as a platoon leader in the 101st, I had MATVs and Max Pros because otherwise, am I still just fighting the Revolutionary War? I mean, we need to be able to actually expand the lodgement. We need to be able to move. And it's not always going to be by helicopter, and it's rarely going to be by static line. So I certainly think that knowing how to fight from and with a vehicular platform, whether that be a tank, a Bradley, a Stryker, next generation combat vehicle, whatever it may be, it matters, and there's science to that as well.
Well, also going on the Russian doctrine of mass attack using mounted and dismounted infantry. I think that we need to. I think we need to catch up. That's just my own. I don't know what is it about our R&D or our procurements that gets these vehicles. So, I mean, look how long it took for the Stryker to come into play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything? I mean, and give your Tom Clancy view of like the Ukraine. Do you think it was kind of like bad for us to just like straight pull out of Europe? And now going into a rotational force? Not bad, I should say, but what would you have done?
Yeah, this is one where I'm going to absolutely punt it and just say that I am not qualified in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, well,
let me put it this way. If I'm the guy making those decisions, you guys all need to be very worried. So you keep following Doug Meyer, and if Doug Meyer is making those decisions, you guys all need to get scared.
Well, I don't know. You got some fans in there. You got some fans sitting inside the chats right now, throwing up the comments, and it's awesome. I think it's funny. You have let's see, what do you got for the first comment there? We have CL Larn. I'm just here to hear Doug Meyer's voice, but the armor.
Yeah, he was one. That's Sergeant Larnard. He was a team leader and then a squad leader in my last company. He actually texted me as well, and I'm going to do it now just so I don't forget later. He told me that he wanted me to finish this interview with what I would tell them at the end of every safety brief, which is probably not what you would expect from an infantry leader. But the end of we didn't call it safety briefs, we called it story time. But at the end of every one, I would tell them that I loved them, I was proud of them, and that I trusted them. And so he was like, if you don't end with "I love you, I trust you, I'm proud of you," then I'm done with you.
And gosh darn it, people like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you also have Captain Doug Meyer was my company commander, and he's by far the best leaders I've ever had the privilege of ever working with. He cares more about his family, soldiers, and leaders than anybody I've ever worked with. He also pushed me and made me a better leader because of that. I am thankful, Doug. You're the man. Miss you, love you, and the Army's better for having you in it. From Andrew Hutzenbeiler.
Yeah, I paid him to say that.
I was about to say, you got some love in here, bro. You just like rocking it. That's what I'm talking about.
He was my first sergeant, and let me put it this way: when I went on a Pacific Pathways training deployment, he wasn't able to go. And when I got back, we had what normally happens in a marriage, right? You come back and you're confused about who's dad and who's mom, right? Who's in charge and who's not, because I spent 4 months running things. Although I had a first sergeant out there who did a great job, but he wasn't there, and so I went home and complained to my wife one night a little bit. I was like, Hutz did this today, and my wife locked me up pretty quick and said, that man loves and missed you more than I did. I was like,
oh shit.
Fair. Yeah, I was like, fair. All right. So I'll just keep my mouth shut. Hutz, greatest first sergeant you could ever have.
That's awesome. What people don't realize is that there's a lot of love. Whether you get along, whether you personally like your first sergeant or not, there's a different relationship of love. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, because when I was a first sergeant, there was commanders that it's your assigned best friend that you had to take care of, even if you didn't get along with them. So
no, I've been blessed. I don't want to mess it up. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've had five first sergeants. 5 first sergeants as a company commander, and not a bad one among them. Every single one was just phenomenal. So probably the only reason I haven't been fired yet is because of leaders like that I've had next to me.
Yeah, no, I mean that's usually. I mean that like I said, if you're the one not signing that reporter survey, then your first sergeant did you good.
Absolutely.
Oh man, so. Do you think that we're now moving? Do you think we're? I gotta see. I don't want you to punt. See all the questions that I have to dust off questions about what was your Triple Alpha 162. Did you always thought you had enough people to do your tactical stuff, to do your fighting? Did you feel that way? That you had enough?
Yeah, that's a great question. No, absolutely not. And you're never. Let's be real honest. If you asked a company commander that was, let's say, assigned by MTO 142 people, and they had 141 that day, what would their answer be? The answer is no. But there are personnel challenges that thankfully are above my pay grade and that I'm not going to be not yet tasked with fixing. But when you have times where you don't have your full complement of soldiers and leaders to be able to train, it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, I never looked around and said that I didn't have enough people to make it worth training, if that makes sense. I certainly had troops to task that I would hand to Sergeant Major. My first sergeant would take up Sergeant Major and say, hey, we can't fill this tasking. And that happens. But there was never a day where I looked around and said, I got nobody to train. There's always somebody out there to train.
Right. Do you think now with that as well, were you resourced good enough as far as having the right equipment and having the facilities available? I mean, I'm only asking because on a policy level, I think that it just seems like there's not you can't open that up because next year's funds are going to kick in and you could do this training then.
I very rarely got that. Normally, and I look at the defense spending budget, and I'm speaking slightly outside my lane, but I'm not being critical, so I don't feel bad saying this. I look at the defense spending, and I never once do I feel justified looking at our national defense spending and going, I don't have enough. I don't think that's the issue. I do think that there are inherent efficiency issues at any level that leaders are put in place to fix, and they're working on that. And sometimes a little bit of humility and grace is required, because like I would tell my subordinate leaders, I couldn't use this excuse in my last command because it was like my third go around, but I'd like to use the excuse of like, hey, if you guys, this is your first time in position, right? Team leader, squad leader, this is your first time doing this job, right? Well, would you like me to come in and just not, bash you on everything you're doing? Okay, well, remember that at pretty much every level of the Army, it's that person's first time doing the job.
Right.
So let's have a little bit of humility and grace in it. As far as beans and bullets, there are times where we feel like we don't have enough, and then there's times where we feel like I don't think we ever feel like we have too much, but maybe we don't have enough of one resource to maximize the other. But the ultimate resource that we never have enough of is time, and that's not because of government spending. So that's just something you always got to look at. Like I said, maximizing every opportunity you have, and that doesn't mean keeping soldiers till 2100. It means getting the job done in the time that you have to do it, and doing it the most efficient way possible.
What is what is it with that? What is it about? What is it about leaders? Is it, and this, I brought this up to my commanders when I was a first sergeant. I would ask, I was like, dudes, you guys you're supposed to be working till 2100. Why are we working? I'm releasing the kids. Why are we, you know what I mean? Is it something that's culture that to get that top block, to get that, most qualified or whatever? It's because now the OER system's changed. Is it that? What is that drive? What creates leaders? Because we see that on the main page and in WTF Nation Radio. We talk about on Sergeant's Time about leaders that keep their soldiers late, waiting on the word. Yeah. Why? What is it? Can you? I mean, from the officer standpoint, can you kind of like I don't know, deconstruct why that would be an environment in a unit?
Yeah. So from a strictly individual officer, like staff officer perspective, let's couch soldiers waiting on the word for a moment and just talk. Let's say the S3 is staying late, or the company commander is staying late. Sometimes it's because there's a mission they got to get done, and you just have to do it. But that's not always the case. I wrote one of my earlier pieces that I wrote was for Joe Byerly from the Green Notebook, and then it's on my page. It's I think it's titled "McChrystal with a Grain of Salt," and it was based on a piece that General retired Stan McChrystal wrote, and some of the good lessons that came out of that piece, and then some of the things I think we got to look at. And one of the things that we have to look at is, are we creating an environment where leaders are just staying late to be seen as staying late? And, that's not healthy. And it's almost, look, if you have to stay till 2100 every night to get your work done, I'm going to talk only at the company level here, right? So company commanders, if you're staying at 2100 to get your work done, you're probably not working very efficiently. And I say that knowing that, the plank is in my own eye. There were times that I stayed late, and probably because I was inefficient in getting it done. So that's one part. Let's put that part aside and get to the part about, soldiers staying late. Sometimes it's you look. Sometimes it might be a vindictive company commander. Maybe you got one. There are bad leaders out there. It happens. I'm willing to bet the majority of the time is a perception issue and a failure to communicate. You know, I love the Cool Hand Luke reference, right? The failure to communicate. Because sometimes maybe they have to be there. Maybe they have to be there because there literally is something you're waiting on. Well, the way you combat that is it's not that hard to, like, I'm thinking in my brain, I'm thinking of a company cough, right? You've probably been in them before, the one where it's got a hallway with 3 cages and platoon leader, platoons in there, right? So just walk out of your office, walk back to the cages and just tell them. Like, it's that simple. It doesn't need to go from you to the platoon sergeants and everything else. Just sometimes it's just easier, and you're not undermining the chain of command to just walk back and tell them why they're all there. Yeah. Hey guys, this sucks. I got it. I'm missing time with my family too. This is what we got to do. This is why it's happening. Let's have fun with it. And then, I don't know, do something training wise, or if it's only going to be a few minutes, bust out I'm going to make myself sound old and say boombox, but bust out,
bust
YouTube,
out a boombox,
right? Bust out YouTube or something. And go watch some YouTube videos or put on some music. Like, have a good time. The Army doesn't have to suck. The Army's fun, man. Have fun, damn it.
Right. I used to tell my soldiers to listen to us.
Yeah.
Not knowing that it was me they're listening to.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, just have a good time. The Army is fun if you make it fun.
Right. Now, did it? Now, okay. So we're going from the company side now to the battalion. Being an op, you know what you were saying. Being in S3 and being an ops sergeant major in the S3 shop, I had to work late. I mean, there was no. And you had higher shooting down some freaking some XORs and some taskings that had to come at real short notice due to whatever contingency they thought needed to happen, or you had to kick in an MDMP for a future deployment or something like that had to happen now because they wanted your COA brief. Did you feel like there was it was a back and forth, like, why is battalion doing this? Do you think that there needs to be more cohesiveness between the companies and the battalion? Do you see it happening? Is it's okay now due to the fact that we go to Atropia a lot?
I'm willing to bet that if you went back to the Roman legions, there would be Roman company commanders complaining about their Roman S3s, and there would be Roman S3s just saying those company
commanders took pride being an ops sergeant major there, Doug.
It's gonna and like I said, then there's gonna be it's probably the chicken and the egg, which one came first? The company commander who thought the old man in the S3 shop didn't get it, or the old man in the S3 shop that just thought those young punks weren't working hard enough. It's probably going to exist forever, and I certainly hope that any company commanders that I have in the future as an S3 are nicer to me than I probably was to S3s. So all the majors out there that have had to put up with me, I'm sorry. I've apologized to them before, and I'll do it forever. But I don't think that the.
I'll be honest with you. As an ops sergeant major, I had a mean streak sometimes that I didn't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just like, why are you being a dick, man? Stop. Yeah, well, just for that.
And sometimes you have to. And I certainly, as an AS3, had conversations with first sergeants when they'd come up. That were interesting conversations. I had one where a first sergeant was complaining about one of the NCOs, and in case people are listening and track it back, I won't say which head he was working on, which shop kind of deal. But they come up complaining about what he was working on, the result of his work, and they were complaining about it. And I just looked at him and I was like, remember that time I asked you for an NCO to fill this slot to do this job, and you sent me this NCO? Yeah. So. There you go.
I had that. Oh yeah. Because the S3 is it is the big Viking ship of rowers that if I ask the first sergeant, hey guys, I need somebody to work in the 3 shop. Everybody knows the deal. 13 months of straight rowing, and then
Spartacus style. Go well and live.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't, and the person that you send to the 3 shop is the quality of support that this battalion can provide to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You just said it a lot nicer than I probably said in the past.
First sergeants get really sensitive when you call them names and stuff, so I had to parse my words. I've toned myself down a lot.
Well, as an AS3, you have to be careful too. That might be your first sergeant.
Right,
That might
right.
be your first question as a company commander very shortly.
It's okay, man. I got the blame. I didn't mind it. I always told the AS3s, "Yeah, blame it on me."
Yeah. But no, so, you talk about staying late there's, I had an S3 when I was an AS3, and he's now a battalion commander and doing, phenomenal things. And we were talking the other day, and he reminded me of something he did as an S3, and he's now doing as a battalion commander with his XO, it made me angry, which is surprising, but it made me angry as an AS3. He would come out, it would be, 1800, and he'd come up to me and say, "How much longer do you have?" And I'd say, I think I got like an hour more on this. And he would pull my ID card, just pull it and walk out the door. And I'd have to chase after him. And by the time I was outside, he's like, "All right, like, you're leaving. Let's go. Time to go home." And at the time, it would irritate me because I just knew that would be more work I had to do the next day. But my wife appreciated it, my family appreciated it. And it's funny to say, but at the same time, it's like, my wife's still with me right now. And that's something I hope, continues. And until, she wises up.
Right.
But
Nothing wrong with
leaders
that.
leaders that do that. And, he now as a battalion commander, he said he told his XO who was staying late, "Hey, look, man, if you have work to do, that's great, but you're not going to do it here because you're setting a culture in the battalion where other officers and NCOs see you, and specifically captains see you, and might think to themselves, man, this Army thing sucks. If I become a major, I'm just going to be here till 2100 every night. So take your computer, and if you got work to do, take it home, type out all your emails, and then in the morning when you plug your computer on, they'll all send." You're not right now.
I taught when I worked in the plan shop. I taught, and I was telling this to Spanky one time with Sergeant's time. I taught some of the battle captains and some of the plans officers how to do the delayed sending on Outlook. Back in the day when you can do it before this new Microsoft Windows 10 thing, I would say, hey, just work during lunch, do a lot of do outs and stuff like that, and put a lot of stuff that you can put on the back burner that you have questions. You could delay send that on Outlook. And you could set it up to where it's delayed sending. So I had people thinking that the plan shop was working late, and they were delaying their emails.
Yeah, there you go.
Throughout the night.
So it's funny because I did that from the opposite perspective. At the same time that I originally wrote that McChrystal McChrystal with a grain of salt article, I had a squad. I was in a cavalry squadron at the time, and I was an HHT commander, and I had a cavalry squadron commander. Who the motivation behind that article was. I sent him the original McChrystal piece, and he and I had a phenomenal conversation about, what junior leaders might read in that piece and how it's not conducive to a healthy battalion environment for people, or squadron environment for people to be staying late. And I was like, oh man, and he made it very clear that he did not think highly of leaders that had to stay real late. So when I was a troop commander, if I had to stay late, I set auto delay on my emails to send the next morning, so the SCO didn't know that I was there late. It's like, man, I don't want him to know I'm working late.
Well, I mean, that's the use of available systems used to be a character trait from all leadership schools that the Army used to a leader competency. Leader competency. On that note, did you think General Donahoe, when he came on Sergeant's time in February, discussed about reading? What are you reading right now? You have an extensive reading list that it would, you just name it, I guess. You got Earl Romo on there. You got James McDonough, platoon leader, Lord of the Flies, Starship Troopers. I love you already. Ender's Game. You have what most individuals would not think would add a military twist to it. Why did you add those to your reading list?
Yeah, so Lord of the Flies. So one, to separate, myself a little bit, right? Because otherwise, every reading list looks the exact same, and it's not to take away from any other ones. That's why at the bottom of that webpage where it says, all the different reading lists, I have them all down there indexed. So hey, if you want to see what this person says, because there's great books on all of them, but specifically the one that comes to mind is Lord of the Flies, and because what I think that is important to take out of Lord of the Flies. For anyone that hasn't read it, it's a book about a bunch of boys, boys from London. I'm pretty sure they're from like a boarding school, and they end up getting shipwrecked on an island. And they're, prepubescent and, puberty age boys on an island. And there's some bad things that happen, right? They start off civilized and they quickly become uncivilized. And there's some moral and ethical issues that happen. And I just think it's a very interesting conversation to have about what our job as leaders is to be the moral compass of our formations, whether you're an officer, an NCO, whether you're a soldier. That, you know, everyone knows that specialist that everybody looks to, right? Like, oh, it's that specialist that everyone's like, where he goes, we all go.
Right.
Well, you know, that specialist has inherent leadership traits that are important. And so when you are dropped in Afghanistan, right, are you going to become the next Blackheart story? Or are you going to maintain the moral high ground in an environment where it's antithetical to be, to be moral? It's kill or be killed environment. How do you maintain your morality in that environment? So that's why Lord of the Flies is on that list specifically.
Now, the other one was the Ender's Game. What's up with that?
Ender's Game is classic leadership and science fiction read. It talks a ton about training, and sometimes you need to read fiction. Although I would classify that as military science fiction, but maybe others wouldn't. They would just say science fiction in general. But you need to read stuff like that to stretch your mind and to expand your thinking. And so I read Ender's Game originally in 10th grade. It was part of our 10th grade, high school reading. And it has stuck with me since, and I've read it maybe 2 other times. And every time I've read it, I've gotten something different out of it, specifically reading it as a platoon leader and seeing some of the basic principles of training a cohesive unit. I think is always my favorite part of the book are the times where Ender is going through the training, right? That is, I think, where it kind of speaks the most to me. And then obviously there's other stuff that comes at the end.
Now the is there any? I mean, did you? Okay, now we're gonna go off the deep end on this one.
Okay.
The not really the deep end. Strategy Strikes Back. Did you read the book about how there are parallels to warfare and Star Wars? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you read that book? What did you think? I mean, we're not critics, so it's not like anyone's going to get mad and sue us or something like that if we say anything good or bad about it. But what did you think of it?
So I loved it, and I'm looking forward to their next book that's coming out, Winning the Westeros, which I'm going to get it and I'm going to read it. I won't get it as much because I haven't watched Game of Thrones or read the books, and that's what it is. It's
Amen, brother. Amen. I've not seen it either. There you go. See Knuckle Blast. See, there you go, Spanky. Not seen it.
I just have I have limited time to consume all the things I want to consume, and that's not on the list.
You go.
But Star Wars, so I think it's phenomenal, right? And there's part of any process of teaching people, you need to meet them where they are. So look, I've published in an academic journal, and I've written academically, probably not as good as many others, and I'm certainly no PhD or anything, but I've written in an academic journal, and I think to myself, I don't even want to read that. Like, I don't even want to read the thing I wrote and published. Like, it's not entertaining. And not only is it not entertaining, but if no one reads it, it doesn't really matter how good a paper it is. If no one reads it, it's not that good a book. Like, that's what's important, is getting people to read, not from a perspective of being, there's certainly sites out there who win on, snark over substance and wit over wisdom. And that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is finding mediums to meet people where they are. And if that medium is a blog, if that medium is, WTF Nation Radio, if that medium is using Star Wars to explain strategy, I wonder how many soldiers who never would have read anything about strategy picked up a book about Star Wars and walked away understanding about grand strategy.
Right.
Like, that's all.
It is.
That's all.
It is. Well, one of my favorite characters is Grand Admiral Thrawn, of course, because he's the man, military strategist, and the highlight of all military deception operations and influence.
Yeah, there you go.
He kind of brings it. The book kind of like, I was kind of poking at him a little bit, the author, by saying, dude, what about the Jedi? What about this religious fanaticism getting involved in government politics?
Yeah.
I try to twist it from a SOCOM angle.
Yeah.
I didn't get a response back.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah, exactly. Lots to unpack there. But another thing is, another book that you got in here is The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey.
Yeah, dude, that is a great. Oh man! So if you want like a 90-page book that will change your your life. 90 pages. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure. I think it's under 100 pages, but it's definitely not like more than 110, right? So someone's going to comment in there and like open up the book. It's 111, but I'm going to stick on 110. Say it's less than 110 pages. Change your life. I'd read the article in HBR, Harvard Business Review by Will Onken, and then there was another author on that article about care, the monkey management, right? The care and feeding of monkeys. And the monkey is, in any organization, the monkey is the next task. So the next task, the next actionable item is the monkey. And so I'd read the article. I was an AS3, and apparently it did not sink in for me. And then at the end of my AS3 time, the Battalion XO, who is now a battalion commander as well in 10th Mountain, said, hey, you should read this book. And I had like 30 days left of being an assistant operations officer. And I read this book, and I was at the same time, it was like a revelation, and then it was like deep depression that I hadn't read this book 18 months earlier, because it would have made my life so much easier. And so the general premise is that, it uses the 1 Minute Manager series by Ken Blanchard, uses parables, stories, because they tend to stick with people better, to teach you a lesson. And he teamed up with Will Onken to turn the monkey management into a parable. And the general idea, it goes through a story of a business leader, right? But the idea is that, if you ever had, I'm sure you had this, right? As an officer major, as a first sergeant, someone comes and puts something on your desk and says, hey, sergeant major, take a look at this. And then they walk, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'll get to it. And they walk away, and it's in your inbox. Well, now you own the monkey. It wasn't your monkey. Right. You didn't create it. It's not your job to feed that monkey.
No.
But that monkey is now on your desk.
Yep, and it's pooing all over the place. It's flinging poo at me.
Right, and then that sergeant first class, or that assistant operations officer captain who just dropped on your desktop, sergeant major, he takes off, right, and he's not worried anymore, or she's not worried anymore, because they don't have the monkey anymore. They just dropped the monkey on your desk, and now it's your problem. So it gives you actionable steps to handle the care and feeding of monkeys, and it gives you some rules to work by, and some situations, and I would employ them on platoon leaders as a company commander, and then later I'd bring them in on it. And by the time, once I pulled the curtain up and showed them, the book and had them read it, they were kind of like, they never fell for it again, which was unfortunate. I should have just kept it under wraps. But I'd rather spread that gospel so that they could then use it.
So tell us about yourself. Right quick, you're going to school right now. What do you got lined up next? What's your what's your future? Captain promotable?
Yeah, so I will pin major at some point here in the near future, and the collective sigh of all NCOs and lieutenants out there in the audience. I'm sure they're all sitting there going, "Yeah, he's going to get his lobotomy now." But I promise you, there are phenomenal majors out there. I've worked for a lot of them. I can't promise I'll be any good at it, but
at least you're humble. At least you're humble.
I can't promise I'll be any good at it, but the other ones are good. I'll pin major, and then I'll go. I'll be working at the Pentagon for a little while, and then head back to the force to be a S3 and an XO.
Do you have any places you'd like to, any faves you want to go to? Any of the anything you want to look at that you're like, oh, I think I want to go. I want this as an assignment, or this is what I want to do, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a Maryland boy, born and raised. So there's no real infantry option. So I'm not going to be fighting strikers out of Fort Meade. So staying close to home isn't really the option. But Fort Carson. I've been at Fort Campbell, and I've been at JBLM. So Fort Carson's out there. Fort Benning. I'm one of the maybe weirder individuals that absolutely loves Fort Benning. So Fort Drum, Fort Bragg, essentially light and striker units is where I'm kind of looking.
Well, wait a minute. You just said Fort Bragg. They just recently had LAV-25s now as part of their armored force. There you go. They just lighted them up. So are you going to go to Fort Bragg? Come on, man. Put some Fort Bragg in it. You're right. Wait, are you jump master?
I'm not. I'm airborne, but like a 6 jump chump. I got one jump. It's funny. I got 1 jump at CTLT, and I got 0 jumps at Ranger School. Every one of the jumps was canceled, and I was okay with it.
Well, hey man, we appreciate you coming on, Doug Meyer, Captain Promotable, the company leader. Check it out at thecompanyleader.com, and of course, you can download all of our podcasts and all that with Doug's and I's, back and forth. And of course, Doug, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, man. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and, everyone get some shots, refill their glasses, and take a potty break. We'll be right back.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Looking up and fading out, cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown, nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars they're meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feeling though the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Myself and I am so lost, it's beautiful, far away from life, but I want your visible feeling to be mine. Oh, I just don't get it. When will your heart beat with my mind? Oh, I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life that's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Right here, right now. I'm better without you. You're always on my mind. But right here, right now. I'm better without you. I've had this for some time. But right now, I know that I'm better on my
Hey, Private Smedlap, what do you think about this? You have to go to the White House to find out about that.
What is this Facebook Live? I've never heard of this shit.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we are back with part 3 of the Monday edition with Ice and Radar and Spanky. Hey, Spanky, you know what? He didn't watch Game of Thrones either.
Oh, I heard that. I was about to shut this whole thing down. I was looking for that, blow up the station button.
Morning. Spanky's gonna blow up the station.
I was mad.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, Airborne. That's what I'm talking about, Radar. Yeah, my favorite intern.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
From what people have been telling me, there could be no practical application. Blah 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 blah. God, I'm. Anyway, my lip is going numb. Yeah, I had a little drink here. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, there is no practical application for tactics used in Game of Thrones because we don't have dragons. So that kind of negates that whole thing. But being the fact that I've not seen Game of Thrones, I can't talk shit. So I have to kind of I gotta wait till I know somebody. You guys have already talked about kidnapping me and taping me up and making me do Clockwork Orange fucking eyeball gazing with fucking Game of Thrones and then throwing Westeros wine at me. Is that what you called it? What's the name of the place? Westeros. I thought Westeros was a new line of fucking Underoos for kids.
One contender has dragons, and she just came over to Westeros.
I thought
she's been hanging out.
I thought Cersei was a fucking course at Fort Bragg, not a fucking a chick's name. So. Oh man, but anyways, yeah. So I've not seen. No, I've not. So see, there you go. Even Doug said the same thing. He's not seen it either, so he's going to venture around. Even though he's going to look at the book. See, at least he's reading the book about it. I could have talked more about doctrine and armying. That was some good stuff. Great ghost. I'm a great guest. Great guest. I was thinking about some stuff. Yeah, you cannot make a comparison to Game of Thrones. So from what we guys say in the chats are speaking it right now. That nope, you can't really make it.
Exactly, Steven. We do have dragons. It's called air power.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, see, Steven, you're trying to get on that. You're trying to make friends with people in the chat.
Steven's my new best friend.
Steven's trying to make some friends. Yep, that's what yep, exactly. Well, maybe a dragon can be equal to an A10 in modern times. Yeah, but there ain't, I'm about to say there ain't nobody riding a dragon, but never mind. I guess I've seen some scenes where there's people riding on top of these dragons. I don't know.
See, you've seen some stuff and some things.
Okay, so so you're saying that if there is a military application to watching Game of Thrones, that I would like it. Is that what you guys are saying?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I know that
there is. There is.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I bet if you watched it, that's exactly what you would pick
Steven
out
is just
of
being
all of
an
it.
ass kisser because he wants to be cool with the Game of Thrones kids. So there you go. So myself, Radar Koss, and Captain Doug Meyer. I think a few individuals have not seen Game of Thrones. So anybody else who's not seen it, I will not get any references you can talk about. I do know that all warrant officers like to they like to compare themselves to Tyrone Lannister, Tyrion Lannister, I guess. He drinks and he knows things.
Yes.
So they all the warrant officers immediately attribute themselves to being short little guys that are nefarious, little conniving short people.
Right, because that's all he does is he doesn't fight. He doesn't do anything, but he can plan the shit out of some stuff.
That's what I'm saying. He is there is a there is
he's book smart.
Yeah, he's book smart. He's like conniving and shit. He's like pitting people, and he's like the hype man, walking around talking crap. And this is only from what you've told me, so what I've gathered. I'm telling the audience that's not seen it. I'm only surmising this from the mere interpretation of previews, reviews, trailers, and Spanky and the rest of the staff talking, going, fangirling over the crap. So Tyrone Lannister is a little hype man, and going back and forth.
Less than 30 days, and y'all won't hear from me on Sundays anymore. And let this motherfucker ever get the next book out, and then I need to take a leave of absence to finish the book, and
William Alexander says that but I'm 100%. I'm still 100% certain that all the leaders in Game of Thrones are entirely incompetent or unfit to lead. Don't a bunch of leaders get killed anyways by their soldiers or some shit like that?
Yeah, but these leaders are teenagers. That's just it. They're fucking teenagers.
Well, as an old NCO, I'll speak for my old ass. Some of these kids coming in to be leaders are like freaking teenagers.
Yes, exactly. That's just it. They literally, and they're aged up. They were really only supposed to be like 14, 15 years old when this whole started. So yeah, they're fucking kids, literally, and they are in charge of armies and dragons and White Walkers, and so they're kids. So yeah, they're kind of incompetent, and they still have to figure it all out as they go.
Don't they get killed in some of this process too, though? They get like a lot of teenagers. So there's child murder in Game of Thrones, and everyone's good with it. Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But there's a military strategy application to it as well. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Not all of them can survive.
I was about to say, I'll have to. I guess I'm gonna have to watch Game of Thrones with having a Game of Thrones party or something like that. And...
Yeah, come over. Gotcha.
I've received an invite already, and I'm going to have a personal screening of such things, and then that way I can laugh and giggle and yeah.
I'll expect updates.
You expect? They throw in the chat. You haven't seen Game of Thrones? Here's this chair. You're going to be taped to it.
That was my invite.
I was about to say.
I'll tell you.
He's here, and the fucking sandbag goes over my head, and the next thing you know, you hear 100-mile-an-hour tape getting wrapped around me. And then all of a sudden, the beginning title. And everyone's like, you guys are fucking throwing fucking chicken bones at me and shit to fucking make me watch this stuff. So, anyway.
I'll feed you.
And there's Terry in the corner vaping. Hey, what's up, ice? We'll see. I guess I'll have to. Like I said, I gotta have patience for it. I gotta wait till all of it's over, and then I'll binge watch it, like fucking The Sopranos or something like that.
That'll be by June because there's only 6 episodes in this final season. So.
Yeah, really. There's only wait. That's another thing too. I always thought a season came on every week. So when you said on this season you watched, it was like a season of. So I remember when I was growing up, a season would be every Monday would be the new episode of specific series, not like The Walking Dead where like 5 fucking episodes come out every other weekend or some shit like that.
Ugh.
And then they drag and drag, and that's why I stopped watching The Walking Dead.
I've even stopped right now.
Oh, I'm all about the zombies. Fucking as soon as Negan showed up, I'm like, hell yeah! Next thing you know, it was like,
They've hurt my feelings right now. I'm gonna wait and binge that when it's done.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that. Just gonna wait till it's done. I'm just gonna wait till it's Carl. I'm gonna wait till it's done.
They hurt my feelings.
Fast forward a bunch of episodes that I mean, like, oh my god. I mean, see, the thing with Walking Dead is you watch a whole. You have to. It's like watching a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. You have to watch the whole thing in the post credits to get what's gonna happen or understand a little bit what's gonna happen on the next episode. Do you even like The Walking Dead, Radar?
I used to love that show, and then I don't know, it just got. I don't even know the word for it. Maybe because I'm stupid, I don't have the big enough vocabulary to. But it's become uninteresting, and I haven't watched it since what was that mid-season premiere or whatever when Carl died. That's the last I really saw of it. It's not good. I hated Carl. I was so glad they killed.
Spoiler alert if you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
Carl died. Carl. That's why I was throwing Carl. I didn't want to say it, but thanks, Radar.
Well, that was like 2 years ago. So if you haven't caught up to it by then hey, that's on you. I see like memes on Facebook, and I don't know. Carl was never in the house. Carl was destined to die. That kid was always lost. He was always fucking getting in the way of shooting deer or something. That kid was always in trouble. He needed to go. But I mean, after that, dude, I don't know. Like I was looking forward to Negan like bashing some skulls, and he did.
Oh, I mean, Negan did not disappoint. He did not disappoint. Just like the comics, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Even got my favorite actor, one of my favorite actors to play. Hell yeah, good to play Negan. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't think they could have cast a better person for Negan. Honestly, it was just spot on. And I almost like Negan more than I like the rest of them. I was like, I don't know. Hopefully Negan wins, but I knew what was going to happen because I read the comics. But
right.
I was still kind of pulling for him. Like, well, sometimes Kirkman does a little bit different, so maybe he's going to have Negan win, and it's going to go a whole new route. But he didn't do that. But whatever. But I don't know. After that, I just kind of quit watching. I just kind of phased it out, and because it just got so like ridiculous, and the people in the trash dump or whatever was just like, Shh, I'm out. I can't. So. But I still have them. I still have them on my DVR. I have like 2 years worth of The Walking Dead on my DVR, and I won't delete it because I'm like, I'm gonna watch it someday. I'm gonna catch up.
I'm the same way. I'm the same. I gotta catch up too. I gotta catch up, and I gotta I guess it's one of those things where you gotta kind of watch it. You gotta kind of binge watch that thing. But it doesn't seem like you're binge watching. It seems like you're binge fucking dying, or like if you when you're trying to get to sleep and you just can't fucking sleep, that's an episode of The Walking Dead, man. That when it used to be like, ooh, shit, and you're like, oh, cool, whatever, and zombies, and all that. And then there was Fear the Walking Dead, where there was West Coast zombies and East Coast zombies. And it was West Coast zombies. That was badass. I love that. That was like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. It's getting into it. And then it just kind of like,
They started doing too many cliffhangers, and they weren't interesting because you knew what was going to happen. Those that read the comics, and then they're like, and it was just ridiculous. Like, you knew that Glenn was going to live when he was under the fucking dumpster. You knew, like, when they did that long, drawn-out 10-minute Negan introduction, and you had to wait 6 months for him to bash in some heads.
Because you knew it was happening. I mean, so you knew,
yes.
If you knew Negan, I mean, there's a lot of things too. Like when the governor raided the prison, that's when Lori got killed and the baby.
Yeah,
that was the comic version. Bradley fighting vehicle went up in there and started lighting everybody up, and then shot Lori and fucking the baby Judith, and blew him in half and shit. The graphic was the graphic novel was graphic in showing that. But yeah, it was just like some of the characters got thrown in there, all fucked up.
Right, so they started doing these cliffhangers that were pointless because you knew what was going to happen, but they just made you wait for no reason. And they could have done cliffhangers that were better and not pointless, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it started to get old because they were doing the same thing over and over again. And just this last season, that's because I was just like, I was getting bored with it, but I'm like, no, I've invested too much time in this. I still got to keep watching. And just this last season, it got good again, like after they killed another major character. But fuck it, if y'all ain't watched it, you ain't watched it. But I was just like, and even just this last couple weeks, I'm like, I can't. I gotta just pause this and come back in a couple weeks because
I was waiting.
They got great.
Oh man, when fucking Negan first came out and shut up his shit, I was like, oh, here it comes, baby. Here. Oh, there's Lucille. Easy peasy.
But then now we gotta wait. And they dragged that storyline out for fucking 2 years.
Yes, I'm saying they dragged out. I mean, they get locked into something, and then they're going through, and then you're watching the damn thing, and there's 15 fucking commercials. You know, it's only a 20-minute show.
And then let's go to the ocean side for an episode for no fucking reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's Tara doing for a whole Sunday?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What the fuck? Who cares? She's not doing shit.
Right?
Fucking you should show her like a quick flashbacks or some shit like that, and then do something else. Meanwhile, on Fear the Walking Dead, fucking LA's on fire, and fucking throwing some action in there and shit. You know, it's always scarier with the slow zombies though than like the World War Z zombies. So.
Right. If they would have sped it up, they probably wouldn't have lost half their viewers.
You need to wrap this shit up.
Exactly.
Wrap the zombies up. So I guess I gotta find time for my Game of Thrones viewing and shit.
No, you need to start getting ready. You need to start getting ready for the Deadwood full-length movie that's coming out. I think it's coming out this summer.
Oh my god, dude! I fucking loved Deadwood. Oh my god, when that show went off the air, that was my Game of Thrones. I love that fucking that TV series. Oh, I loved it. I love Deadwood. Oh man.
They're talking about it, and it keeps sparking my interest, and they kind of keep putting out little spoilers on Facebook, like, oh, we're gonna da-da-da. I'm like, yes, I want to see this. And then they're like, oh, yeah, now we're filming it. I'm like, no, get it out on TV time now. I don't want to wait anymore. But I guess we got to wait. So.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe we can get that Game of Thrones in while we wait for something that's actually going to be worth our time to watch.
I was about to say, dude. I mean, dude. Oh my god. You know, if there was anybody who could speak so articulate that I loved the way he did it was Ian McShane's character, Schwerigan.
Al Swearigan.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. He. Man, the way he. Oh, it was poetic profanity. The way he was awesome, and then let the cocksucker in the end of it. You know? I don't know, just the way Ian McShane as an actor carries himself. You're just like, dude, oh, he's so fucking badass. Yeah, you're right. Deadwood comes out. Hell yeah, dude. Were we talking about making a trip out there?
I was driving through it today. I drive through it every day. But. And this is, okay, I went to college out here as a history guy, and I took the Black Hills history class, and it was fun for me to tie in those characters from that show that I enjoyed watching to the real people. You know, Al Swearigan was a real person. You can go down there today and see his bar that's still there.
Right.
You know, so it's really neat to tie all that into itself, and you can kind of get, and actually some of the history, the real life history of Deadwood is more fucked up than the show.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It's really bad.
Yeah. So yeah, if you ever if you make it out to Deadwood, you let me know. I'll show you around, and you'll enjoy it. And that goes for anybody who's listening. Look me up. I'm not in the phone book under radar though, but.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll have to get on that. You know, Al Swearigan, he was the always looking for a hustle kind of guy. You know what I mean? He was always out hustling. And his story in itself, man, dude, it was a, I don't know, yeah, you got to watch Deadwood. Have you seen Deadwood, Spanky? Is that a series that you've not seen?
I have not. I've seen probably like one or two episodes.
Say that again. You've not seen Deadwood. But
I have not.
You're breaking balls about me not seeing Game of Thrones.
I know. And I'm even like, you know, from that area.
I was about to say you're from that. You guys are from that AO.
I know, and I have not watched it. I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes.
Al Surgeon is an American pimp and entertainment entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Oh my God. He ran the GAM Theater. The GAM Theater, man.
It's the gem.
Is it the gem or the GAM? It's a GAM.
Gem.
Was it gem?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, it was the Gem Theater. Hang on. Matter of fact, I'm fucking remembering. Instead of just going off of old memory, let me Googleize it. There we go. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, my bad. Forgive me. Yeah, the Gem Theater, circa. Yep. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Yeah, I need to watch that fucking. I need to watch the show.
I can't remember what's going on in my life. I think I was like overseas and didn't have HBO like when it was on. It was one of those things I had to,
I only caught episodes of it, bootleg copy, because it was
right.
I was in Iraq, when when all that shit was going on. So I missed a couple episodes, but come to think of it, I think I'm gonna try to find the fucking DVD box. They still have DVDs out, right? That hasn't gone away. Get a DVD box.
Oh yeah. Like there's a couple of HBO series that I still, because I got rid of most of my DVDs, but there's like the HBO's box sets that I have of a few series. I'm like, I'll never get rid of those.
Right. I have the Band of Brothers and the Sopranos.
I have the Sopranos and Sex and the City and the L Word.
Of course, fucking all the chick shit.
I know. The Sopranos is not chick shit. I still have that one too. Still mad as fuck at how they ended, but whatever. Let Game of Thrones end on some shit like that. I will burn the fucking HBO studios to the ground.
You fucking what do we oh man. So real quick, we're about ready to hit the bottom of the hour.
Sorry.
Well, we normally do sportsings and shit. So here's what we totally, when Flash is on mission right now, we totally fucking ruin the sports experience by having 100% utter trash fucking sports commentary by us, Spanky, Ice, and Radar. Flash normally goes on some Flash rants about changing out teams and all that, and talking about baseball and talking about football and all this stuff. But since we are not the sportsings type, and sometimes sportsing people kind of just get whatever, we don't care. So you're not gonna get a sports page tonight. I'm sorry. I'm just bringing
teams did thing and scored points.
Yeah.
There you go.
Something happened with LeBron or something like that, and everyone got butthurt because LeBron did something that trying to make a comparison to Michael Jordan. Everybody knows that Michael Jordan is the greatest, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of course. But all the rest of that stuff, I do know what has anything to do with sportsing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to follow sports pretty good and be involved in some of the sports news and all that shit. But you know what? Hey, sorry, the sports world just isn't doing it for me anymore. Without some sort of a drama or I don't know, some controversy going on. So, do you want to try your hand? What's going on in sports today, there, Radar? How about that? We'll just do that. We'll put you on the spot. Give us a sport. Give us some sport something.
The Iowa State Cyclones won the Big 12 championship on Saturday, and that's all I know. My dad went to Iowa State, so he was like, him and my mom were calling me like all through the game, and I'm just like, shh. All right, you guys, whoa, go sportsy. And then so Dad had to let me know that they won the Big 12 championship. They beat Kansas or Nebraska. Or they beat somebody. I don't know. They won. And that's all I really know. A couple times we were at the bars and they had the different basketball games on. I know it was like they're getting ready for the NCAA tournament. Because they had the brackets at work today or something, or like, you want to sign up for some brackets? And I was like, I'm no good at those. I'll just give you $20 or whatever. And no, I stayed away from that. I don't know. I don't do sportsy.
Wait, what sport was this that they won? This Big 12? What sports was it? What sport was it?
Basketball.
Was it basketball? Okay.
Yes, it was basketball. It might have been hockey. I don't know. Basketball. No, it was basketball. They are according to AL1 Combo, they are now the number 2 seed in one of the seeds. I don't know if it's Iowa. It's probably corn is their number 2 seed or soybeans. Something about seeds. Maybe they're planting tomatoes. I don't know, but go basketball. Duke beat UNC the other night, according to Truth of Army Recruiting.
That's what I'm talking about.
So Truth of Army Recruiting knows more about sports than I do.
Yeah, sports of Army Recruiting. What else?
Oh, wait. Hey, watch this. I got it. Redkid signs OT Flowers to a 1-year deal. Bottles reaches deal with Rams to back up Goff. That's in your NFL news tonight. From the Major League Baseball, Yankees agree to a deal with Gonzalez, and the Reds expect Wood to open season on the DL. That's all I got. That's your pretend to be Flash sports update.
So he's starting the season on the down low?
Yep, that's what I got.
Right, sweet.
It just says DL. I just thought it was meant down low.
That really what it meant?
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't have, like, you know how you're supposed to write like the acronyms out and then put it in parentheses?
Right. That's
they didn't do that.
Standard Army writing.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like my pretend to be Flash update.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, from ESPN.com.
You sound so enthused. You're just like, yeah, from ESPN.com. Shut up. Next. Are we doing cut sheets yet, asshole? Shut the fuck up and keep going.
No, well, see, I can do sports. You see, I did it, right? Yay, sports. Wait, I forgot to bring a pom-pom tonight.
How are they going to have all these sports when it's like St. Patty's Day weekend and everyone who's got a life is out drinking and partying with their friends, and they're going to be like, oh, well, now we talk about, no, come on, like have like a weekend off. Like we're all drinking already. We don't need to, like, I don't know, do that stuff. You know, the sports. Like I said, they had the games on at the bar when we went down there. So, but it was loud and people were drinking. So I don't know. I just saw people throwing a ball around. I don't even know. And that wasn't even on the TV.
Okay. We got the most non-sports following people right now talking about the sports page right now. And I guarantee you right now, Flash is probably dialing in, or he's like trying to log into his computer as we speak. His hands are like, you know, he's like twisting his hands right now, going, "You motherfucker." So today we had Captain Doug Meyer from the company leader, of course. Captain Doug Meyer is an active duty U.S. Army infantry officer. Made sure that he said everything that he was going to say was purely his own opinion and did not endorse. It was not endorsed by or did not fully be endorsed by the Department of Defense or the United States Army for any of the comments that he made while he was on WTF Nation Radio. We got you back, Doug. And a 2009 graduate of Norwich University. He's experience in a striker, and his experience in striker units and light infantry units at the tactical operation levels, and in the CENTCOM and PACOM AOR led him to create the company leader, an online professional forum dedicated to developing leaders at the tactical level of war. All right, on Sergeant's time, I got my man Luis Fernandez coming up here. He's going to be coming up. And he's going to come back to us to tell us what's been going on since he released his book about a year ago called CONUS Battle Drills to help everyday veterans that are getting out of the military and facing a war that they don't understand, or that the world does not understand them either. Face challenges that they are completely unprepared for, like writing a resume, preparing for interviews, picking up companies, translating our skills to a soft world that are all things that we were not trained in. CONUS Battle Drills is written by a combat veteran for combat veterans to help each other grow in the areas of corporate employment, fatherhood, being a husband, and just taking care of the mental state. He was writing a second book, so we're going to talk a little bit about that because me and him have interactions before about that and had a little sidebar discussion about it. So I can't wait to have Luis come on here and shoot the shit. It's awesome. Come back on here, Fernie. We can hang out. Yeah, you guys are noticing we're starting to pick up on the on back and forth on the Facebook. So what happened with our stuff is that when Facebook did this big outage, it outaged a lot of stuff and settings that we had to reset some equipment to. So that's why now you're able to hear us on Facebook Live, on U.S. Army WTF Moments, and WTF Nation Radio. Of course, Mixer was the backbone that helped out and actually had some good reception from a lot of individuals that they liked Mixer because it was a good community to be on. So we totally appreciate y'all enjoying yourselves on Mixer and hanging out with there in the shop. We always have our fave fans in there. We have like Stefan L1 Camo. We have Road Tech, Cosby Sweater. That is the person that does not want to. Cosby Sweater is the Mixer anonymous account name that they give you when you don't want to sign in. Cosby Sweater. Do we want to let Mixer know that it's not a good idea to put Cosby Sweater? What's a Cosby Sweater? Hey, yo, would you went to the club? Yeah, man, I gave her a Cosby Sweater. It sounds so perverted. Oh, yeah.
It is. Don't Google it.
Yeah.
I just did. Don't Google it. Don't. Yeah.
Don't Google it.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, you're right. What it did, yeah, it fucked up Botface, too. Well, I think Botface has been fucking AWOL lately, so we need to unfuck that shit. Botface is the NCO artificial intelligence that we're trying to get. See, our artificial intelligence is actually getting a WTF mentality, and we're pissed off about it. He's not supposed to be WTF as Sergeant Botface. He is supposed to be the keeper of all things trivia, and is supposed to be the one that is supposed to keep us in check with all the jokes and all that, and is the artificial intelligence moderating the information and stuff that's being said in the Mixer chat. So everyone who hung out with us, and we totally appreciate you guys and gals that hung out with us. Was it Thursday? We even got to play some stuff that Facebook would even let us play. So that was awesome. So we were playing some Tech 9 and some other stuff. So usually at the end of a show like tonight, I'll throw some other stuff in here, and I'll play a couple of tunes that are not authorized on Facebook Live, but we will play it afterwards. So if you guys wait after Space Force song, then Tech 9 will probably come on, or some Eminem will come on, or some like some fun stuff like that. So, but it will not be on the Facebook Live, or will not be on the podcast. So what you're gonna hear is what you're gonna hear. Otherwise, our podcast would be, in my world, 4 hours long because I play a lot of music. But anyways. We got a show every night. We're trying to have a show every night. Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays right now are on hold. Wednesday is a permanent freaking day off. There, I said that. Day off. It's a day off.
Thank you.
Friday Night Freedom on hold. Tinfoil Times is on hold on Saturday. Today you're listening to the Monday edition. Tomorrow you have Tied Up Tuesday with Minx. Thursday is Sergeant's Time with moi, of course, and Spanky, while we sergeanting all the sergeanting about that you can sergeant in the United States Army for NCOing. And then on Sunday we have the men of Team Old, Kaz and Owl, to just talk about kicking it with Kaz stuff, man. Those guys are in their own niche, and it's awesome. They have their own stuff, really laid back. And then, of course, today, Monday edition with news, commentary, and discussion about whatever. News and stuff. Doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter what we talk about. So with that, again, we want to thank Doug Meyer for coming on. Totally appreciate you coming on here, man. And then, so if you guys don't have anything for me, you got any parting words there, Spanky, Radar?
I'm good. Just don't Google Cosby Sweater.
Don't Google. True that. All right, y'all have a good night, and shots.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
upon their shoulders. It's a daunting task with relentless fear to make conquest of the last frontier. Now here we are enlisted for the glory of our nation. To say that we're the best would be an under-exaggeration. Prepared for combat with an alien race to kick their asses right in the face. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport, now sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. Though critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is deep space mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space
You said you'd never ever break down, but here I am sweeping pieces off of the ground. You said you'd never ever play to crowds, but I've seen you hoping to play songs to them now. I've spent all night long scared of tomorrow, broke my alarm. Everything's almost lost. Pick it up slow before it's gone.
Fragile.
Wish I'd have known.
I never thought I'd be so fragile.
You're not alone.
It didn't break before it's about to.
We've been here before.
I don't ever want to change. I'm trying to show. I don't ever.
Some of the people appointed to give an opinion never do get it. I want you to come on and gobble a Jimmy and die. Need to be given the remedy and why? Critics are really the enemy and can't stand the way they slam today's gifted. Effing incredible, get fanned away with grants to pay. This gem, well, a scripted, definite, impeccable. Right around, I'm gonna put everything in a flow. I'm the nine, I'ma look very me when I'm foe. Scribe-a-lomedy has never been at a show. By the time it'll be better living in the stove. Cause they wrote another my lies, quotes stuck in my eyes. Amateur writer dissing. He's a beginner in hopes for your demise. Folks, I'm a despise, never do try to listen. It's real, I'm mad. Clueless when you scribble on your pad. How you gonna criticize with a chisel on your ass, sizzle in your ass? You don't really get why I'm so pissed. Understand this. Understand this. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my Yes, I'm.
Tell me that my name is big as Venus, stupid during the Uranus. Tell me that your anus got your head in it. I can smell the articles and know you're heinous. Tell me that you love me, always thinking of it. Unconditional, I'm hoping I'm your favorite. Grab a fishing pole and throw me with the shark. That's the feeling I get when you're concentrating on this pen, on this pad. Tell me you willing to disown my craft. Tell me the feeling of picking apart this track. Putting my heart and my soul in these lines, telling me platinum and gold all the time. Looking to bury a deep hole for mine. This is more than you and this is more than you and your entire building. Slender and abusing what I call a realist. Coming from a student, told myself to use a poem as a Uzi. Empty magazine, I seen a magazine. You see my trigger finger, then I started shooting. That was nicotine, I'm about to smoke them all and turn and listen for all. You should've known my music. We're shouting now.
I never thought I'd be so fragile.
You're not alone.
It didn't break before it's about to.
We've been here before.
I don't ever want to change. I'm trying to show. I don't ever.
A UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.